in two drastically different ways. Jesuit goes on the road and upsets a talented West Jefferson team, and John, the Purple Knights host a playoff game in which they score the final 8 points after the gun.
Yes, they did, and quite a game, as we all know about and heard all week. They were put in a position to be able to actually taste what defeat was like, and then kind of escape and had a new life. They need to try to make the best of it tonight. And Jesuits beat a very talented West Jefferson Buccaneer Ball Club.
Kamal Smith is the Purple Knight who caught the football for the game's final touchdown. Our Laura Murphy talks to him about the events before and after the crucial play.
Kamal, last week's game against Bonneville, last play of the game, what was going through your mind?
What was going through my mind is we was down by a touchdown and we needed to win, and the game wasn't over yet, so I decided to run down the field and try to make something happen because the game wasn't over yet.
When you saw the ball tossed up in the air at that moment, did you think the game was over, or did you know the situation?
When I threw the ball up in the air, I was like, yes, I'm about to get an intercept, touchdown, we're going to win the game.
What was it like having to wait those long 5 minutes for the officials to finally make that decision?
Yeah, I wasn't really worried because I didn't see how they safety if he wasn't down or wasn't tackled or fell in the end zone, so I knew it was an intercept, a touchdown, so I wasn't too worried.
Okay, thanks. Lance, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Laura. Unfortunately, there are two sides to every story. Our thoughts and prayers are with Derek Williams from Bonneville, and the entire Cox Cable crew wish him nothing but the best. Let's take a look at the updated playoff brackets if we can. And John, once again, the Catholic League schools are always forced to knock each other off before advancing too far in postseason.
It certainly looks like it, and it puts them in a position, of course, which coaches don't like, to have to play the same teams twice. It's very difficult to do that. But I really think the reasoning is financial reasons and less travel, and more people can stay home and watch their kids play as close to home.
The Metro Top 10 poll has a new flavor to it. Some of the teams who were eliminated last week dropped down to the bottom.
Yes, it's that time of the year now where you have to win to stay alive, and that's what the top 10's all about from us.
Fort Chase survived a scare from Covington in the Superdome. They won the game in overtime. That was a big game for the Tarpons. Time now for a break. When we come back, we'll hear from both head coaches.
Is it your goal to receive an athletic scholarship? The National College Recruiting Association can increase your exposure and help you realize your dreams. Recognized as the industry leader, NCRA will develop your player profile and professionally promote your academic and athletic achievements throughout the country.
Now that we've been involved with the program for some 5 or 6 months, I can't begin to tell you how elated I am at the response from the major colleges, and I truly feel that the major portion of that has come from our affiliation with the NCRA Blue Chip recruiting program.
I know what exposure can do for an athlete. Done properly, it can make your dreams of receiving an athletic scholarship, and more importantly, a college education, a reality. The #1 name for helping high school athletes receive athletic scholarships is the National College Recruiting Association.
Call your local representative today.
Just moments away from regional playoff action between two 8-3 teams, the Jesuit Blue Jays and the St. Aug Purple Knights. Welcome back to the pregame show presented by the National College Recruiting Association. John, the Jesuit defense has been called opportunistic and sometimes lucky. How would you classify this defensive squad?
They're just a group of scrappy young men with a lot of talent who really come to the game and play up to their potential every day. They never give up. And I think that's the trait that Coach Sanji has put in this Blue Jay team.
We know about the Jesuit offense. Despite being inconsistent, they can win the big game. And Paris Childress adds a whole new wrinkle to the offense for the Blue Jays.
Tonight, I think Paris Childress is going to be the difference in this Jesuits team. And he has been this year. He's 5'10", 170 pounds. He's rushed for over 1,200 yards, 9 TDs. He's 67 of 139 passing. For Jesuits to win, he needs to keep the field open where he can do some passing and allow Todd Galemi to be able to do some running.
Special teams has been crucial the past 2 weeks, and Pat Neely takes care of that department for head coach Mark Songi.
We'll be looking at the premier kicker without a doubt in this state tonight on this field. If it comes down to that, Jesuit certainly has a decided edge.
Laura Murphy talked with head coach Mark Songi about tonight's game.
Thanks, Lance. Coach, you beat this team earlier this season. Does that boost your team's confidence and make this game tonight a little bit easier?
It might boost our confidence a little bit, but I tell you what really has been boosting our confidence is the way we've been playing the last 2 weeks. I think that's been the key for us. We feel like we're kind of hitting our peak right now. I thought we might have hit it a lot earlier this season, but really the way we've been playing the last 2 weeks, I think does more for our confidence than beating St. Aug earlier this year.
St. Aug has a very strong rushing attack. How will that alter Childress' plays tonight?
Childress? You mean Childress? Okay, no, that's okay. Their rushing attack's not going to have much to do with him. Defensively, we got to slow them down. We've got to have a lot of success on first down and take them out of their running game, try to force them to throw the ball. Offensively, we need to control the football. We need to get points on the board early, I think, to be successful.
What would you say is the most important thing tonight on executing this game?
Mistakes. I think the team that makes the fewest amount of mistakes is going to win. It could be that type of a ball game. A team that doesn't turn the ball over, doesn't get penalized, and puts points on the board when it counts. I think that's going to be the key.
Coach, we wish you the best of luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Lance, back to you.
The Purple Knights came up with a Game of the Year performance in their final game against Brother Martin. 48-7, they won that in the regular season. But, John, that 48-7 victory has been the exception, not the rule this year.
Right, we're going to have to watch in the first few minutes of the game to see just what St. Aug team arrives here tonight. They have shown signs of not playing up to potential throughout the whole year.
Offensively, Sean Rhodes has been the key for the running attack for the Purple Knights. He's been bothered by injuries the last few years, but he's still one of the best running backs in the area.
Sean Rhodes, number 30, running back, 5 foot, 11 inches, 208 pounds, a bullet, 4.5 speed, averages 12.6 yards a carry and 16 touchdowns. He is going to make the difference if St. Aug is going to be able to open up tonight. If they shut him down, we're going to see a game right down to the wire.
The Blue Jays were eliminated by St. Aug last year, 18-6, but this is a new offensive attack for Coach Mark Songi. Parrish Childress, the quarterback, has more of a role than Todd Galemi last year.
Yes, last year they depended solely on running the football. This year they've discovered Parrish, throw the ball a lot, and that should give a little more opportunity for the running game tonight. I look for a great game.
Laura Murphy talked with head coach Tony Villegas a short while ago.
Coach had an unexpected win last week. Do you expect anything like that to happen again tonight, especially since y'all are playing under a full moon? And talk about the emotions of your team right now.
Well, we'll take a win any kind of way we can get it. If that's the way we have to win tonight, I'll be happy to take it, you know. The team's really upbeat after the win last week. For a moment, it looked like we weren't going to be here this week, and all of a sudden our fortunes changed, and we've had a good week of practice, and everybody's excited about playing Jesuit again.
Running back Dennis Burke has rushed for almost 800 yards. How crucial is his performance tonight?
Well, Dennis is one of our key all-around players. You know, not only is he an outstanding running back, but his blocking is crucial to our offense. You know, he's done an outstanding job of blocking and also catching the football for us this year. So Dennis is one of the keys for us, and we're going to be successful offensively tonight.
What will be the key tonight in stopping Todd Galemi?
Well, we're going to try to, you know, what Jesuit likes to do with Todd is let him get the football and find his own seams and gaps. You know, and what we want our defense to do is just play balanced up and try to keep all the seams filled up and hopefully do as well as we did against him the first time. The first time we played him, we did a pretty good job against Todd, and we're hoping for that again tonight.
Okay, Coach. Good luck tonight.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Lance, here you have it from the field from these two coaches. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Laura. Folks, stay tuned for halftime. It should be a good one. We'll have the Blue Chip Illustrated halftime report. We'll run the hurry-up highlights, and we'll visit with Blue Jay place kicker Pat Neely in the AAA Sporting Goods player profile. The kickoff is coming up next. Enjoy the broadcast.
Prep Football on Cox Cable is brought to you by Kenner on the Move. Bone Ford in New Orleans, your 15-minute confidence dealership. And Cox Cable, star quality, guaranteed.
At the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner, 5 cents goes a long way. The Pontchartrain Center has over 35,000 square feet of exhibit space and 6 spacious meeting rooms, all for just 5 cents a square foot. If you're looking for a place to hold your next convention, meeting, seminar, or banquet, Kenner's Pontchartrain Center is New Orleans' newest meeting alternative.
All meal functions are catered by Marie's to assure the finest in banquet cuisine. When you're looking for a quality convention or meeting facility with affordable rates, call the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner.
The original Bone Ford in New Orleans has got your number, 0.9, 0.9. Right now, this week only, when you buy any new Ford Taurus from the original Bone Ford, you'll pay only 0.9% interest and save big too. America's best-selling car from New Orleans' favorite car dealer has a low, low price and 0.9% interest. Try getting that from a bank. Don't forget the big savings on America's top-selling truck, the F-150. Right now, at the original Bone Ford, your 15-minute dealer, just 15 minutes from Metairie, St. Bernard, and the West Bank.
You want all the action? Get Rock every Friday at 10:30 on WGNO.
What's happening on cable television? What's the latest entrance to the information superhighway? Just where is programming going to take us and the information going to go? In Focus with Cox Cable is the program that answers all those questions. We look at what's happening in the latest in technology, the delivery of more home entertainment and information and business services to your residents. We'll also take your calls, questions, and comments at 733-2225. That's Tuesday nights at a brand new time, 5 p.m., right here on Cox Metro 10.
Visit AAA Sporting Goods at 3729 Williams Boulevard and outfit your team with the best in personalized sports apparel. Select from a wide variety of colors and sizes. You can even pick up great gift ideas. Friendly, dependable, quick, and quality service makes AAA the supplier for many of the area's top high schools. Give your order that personal touch with silk screening, embroidery, numbering, and lettering. There's no order too big or too small. This season, make it AAA Sporting Goods, 3729 Williams Boulevard.
We're back.
Ken Trahan, Renee Nato from Tad Gormley Stadium. The St. Augustine Purple Knights and the Jesuit Blue Jays set to do battle here in the second round of the state playoffs, the regional round. And these same two teams, as we mentioned previously, met last year in the second round of the state playoffs. St. Augustine prevailing 18-6 on that particular evening. The captains are meeting at the center of the field. Lenny Reese, the referee, explaining things to them, and he'll flip the coin momentarily. The captains for St. Augustine are 18, Sean Johnson, and 30, Sean Rhodes. Marcus Scott, the Jesuit captain, looking on, flanked by Todd Galemi. St. Augustine wearing their purple jerseys, gold numerals, trimmed in white. Jesuit in their white jerseys, blue numerals, and the blue headgear. St. Augustine with their familiar yellow-gold headgear. Jesuit has won the toss. They have elected to receive. St. Augustine thus will kick off, and they will defend the north goal. Well, with St. Augustine set to kick off, Renee, the thing we'll look for is the squib kick or even the onside kick. They kick every kickoff that way. So immediately a big play in the football game will take place on the first play of the game.
Yes, it will, and it's happened 8 times thus far. So it's going to be interesting to see if St. Augustine can come out on top with the opening kickoff.
We pause now to honor America. Here's the playing of our national anthem. one of the nation's most acclaimed bands for years, and deservingly so, the great Marching 100 of St. Augustine. The officials for tonight's game, the referee is Lenny Reese. The head linesman is Bob Taylor. The line judge, Wayne Winkler. The back judge is Paul LaRosa. The umpire, Freddie Williams, and the electric clock operator is Israel Calhoun. They are local, and they do a fantastic job. We look forward to a fantastic game here this evening. Jesuit and St. Augustine, Blue Jays to receive, the Purple Knights to kick it off. And handling those kickoff duties for St. Augustine is number 2, Nemesis Bates, and Nemesis puts it on the ground, and the Purple Knights try to cover it. They recovered 4 of these onside kicks against Holy Cross in a 30-8 victory, and this will go a long way toward deciding the outcome of this game, Renee.
In fact, the Holy Cross game, an interesting point. St. Augustine had the first 3 possessions because of this squib kick. So Holy Cross had to wait quite a while before they even got a chance to get their hands on the ball for that contest.
Coach Villegas and the Purple Knights sideline looking on. Big crowd anticipated. They're still filing in. We're combating a preview of Christmas in the Oaks, so there's a lot of traffic outside. The fans will still be coming in deep into the first half, I can assure you. The deep receivers are standing at about the 18-yard line, but they will likely not see this football. Marcus Scott and Danny Dodson are they. We're ready to play football. Bates approaches it and hits it on the ground, fielded by a short man who wisely falls on the football at about the 38-yard line, and that is taught, and that's how they want to handle it, and that is Ryan Derbies, the defensive back for Jesuit. Blue Jay football, 1st and 10, at their own 38-yard line. We'll set the Jesuit offense for you. Parrish Childress, the quarterback, trots onto the field, and Childress had his biggest game of the year against St. Augustine earlier this year. He's 5'10", 170 pounds, a senior out of New Orleans. In that game earlier this year, Childress 11 of 19, 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. The offensive line of Quino, McMinn, Marino, Malinowski, and Higgins for Jesuit. They're important in this ball game in the scheme of things. Unquestionably, Childress, Gibbons, Galemi, Bumpus, and Weiss are the receivers, and the Jesuit offensive line moves. Jesuit had 3 receivers to the right side of the field, but the left tackle for Jesuit, Quino, was a little bit anxious there. That will cost the Blue Jays 5 yards. Lenny Reese makes the call properly.
No first down.
Thank you, Lenny. So 1st and 15 for Jesuit.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. First down.
St. Augustine is tough to run on. They held Jesuit to only 50 yards rushing in that first game. It was the passing that really did them in. Here's that 3 wide receiver right formation. Now the motion man Gibbons, and they give to Galemi. Galemi crosses the 35 out to about the 36-yard line. A pickup of about 3 yards where it will be 2nd down and about 12 yards to go. The Purple Knight defense I mentioned, it's very good. A good look at Sean Goodwin, the captain, trotting back to the huddle. The line of Hall, Jackson, and Seymour, they're big, they're talented, they're young. 1 sophomore and 1 junior up front for the Purple Knights. The linebackers, Goodwin's terrific, their leading tackler. Rashi Bates, Claude Hayes, and Ray Notch Thompson's a really good athlete, converted from safety. Kamau Smith, Anthony Hurts, Skylar Pierce, and Sean Johnson, who may be as good as anyone at that position. Here's Galemi cutting back. Galemi picks his way to about the 39. Galemi has about 4 yards on the play. It will be 3rd down and about 9 yards to go from the 39. The original line of scrimmage was the 38. We may see the Jays put the ball in the air for the first time here. Todd Galemi, obviously the leading ball carrier for Jesuit. Another solid season, 219 carries, 911 yards, and 15 touchdowns coming into this game. The St. Augustine sideline, the Jesuit sideline, that's the Blue Jay sideline, and Coach Mark Sanji looking on. Split backs behind Childress. Wants to throw, in trouble. Stops, goes down. Great coverage, and then the pressure finally got to him. Sean Goodwin and Ray Notch Thompson, the inside and outside linebackers respectively, in a very impressive first defensive series for the Purple Knights.
You can also credit number 56, James Hall, for the Purple Knights with putting pressure. He did not get in on the sack. You can see James Hall, number 56, come into your screen momentarily, and he's going to right there. He swats a big paw at Childress before he's engulfed by Goodwin and company, and now it's a punting situation for the Blue Jays.
Pat Neely will handle those chores, and he hits it toward the sideline and low, and it goes out of bounds at about the 39-yard line, purposely kicking away from the dangerous return man. And St. Augustine gets the football for the first time at their own 39, 10:03 to play first quarter with no score. We'll set the Purple Knight offense for you. This is an offense that can run and pass. They are very talented, and they've gotten better. They've stabilized a young offensive line recently. And that's the key for this football team. Kareem Evans leads them to the line of scrimmage. He is really good. 6 feet, 200 pounds, a junior out of New Orleans. Completes better than 50% of his passes. Straight eye formation for the Purple Knights. Charles in motion to the wide side of the field. This is Sean Rhodes. Rhodes dips his shoulder and drives forward for about 3 yards. Boy, you can hear the leather pop all the way up here. Rhodes is a great football player. He'll be playing on the next level next year, in all likelihood, as a true freshman. The St. Augustine offensive Evans. Dennis Burks is great all around. Rhodes, terrific. Derek Lewis might be their best football player. Jamal Barnes and Nemesis Bates are the talented receivers for the Purple Knights. The offensive line is getting better. Carl Matthews, Reginald Lombard is superior. Michael Jenkins, Lyle Boudreau, and Mark Lombard. Matthews has played well this year. He's a solid player for St. Augustine. And unfortunately, Sean Rhodes, after that hard contact, as you can see, has not gotten up. Boy, of course, Sean Rhodes had that bad knee injury that forced him out of action for a long period of time last year. And you can very, very hopefully see him back in this game soon. He's a terrific ball player, fine young man, and what a difference he makes. Time out on the field, 9:27 to play first quarter. No score from Tad Gormley Stadium on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
At the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner, 5 cents goes a long way. The Pontchartrain Center has over 35,000 square feet of exhibit space and 6 spacious meeting rooms, all for just 5 cents a square foot. If you're looking for a place to hold your next convention, meeting, seminar, or banquet, Kenner's Pontchartrain Center is New Orleans' newest meeting alternative. All meal functions are catered by Marie's to assure the finest in banquet cuisine. When you're looking for a quality convention or meeting facility with affordable rates, call the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner.
2nd and 7. Fobbs replaces Rhodes, who has to lead the game, and Jamal Fobbs gets the ball, and he sprints across the 45 and out near the 46-yard line for a pickup of 4 yards. Well, it will be 3rd down and about 3. We'll set the Jesuit defense for you as we look at Jamal Fobbs. This Blue Jay defense has lost Robert Martin, a really outstanding football player. They've also lost Lyndon Jones just a week ago up front, so they've had to make some changes up front. Perniciaro, the new starter. Lamont, Ted Nass moves from end to tackle, and Scott Schlegel is solid for the Blue Jays. The linebackers in secondary, Bourgeois, McCaffrey, Bookert, and Laborde. The secondary of Pino, Derbys, and Scott. 3rd down, 3, the 46. Fobbs and Burks, the running backs. This is Dennis Burks. And Burks gets a first down across midfield. He's in Jesuit territory to the 48-yard line. Dennis Burks, the all-around back for St. Augustine. He blocks, he catches, he runs. He is outstanding.
Dennis Burks is not only can run between the tackles, Kenny, he can bounce it outside. He's got 4.5 speed, and he's got some suitors after him. Nebraska, Notre Dame, Auburn, LSU, Tulane, Florida, and Florida State. He can run and catch, and he's an outstanding blocker. He just loves to block. Last time these two teams squared off, he had an outstanding game against the Blue Jays.
Saw Coach Villegas in his 10th year. What a record, 80-22. State semifinalist a year ago. They lost a thriller in overtime to eventual state champion West Monroe. 34-33 in a game you saw right here on Cox. Here's Burks trying to bounce it outside. He won't find anything there. Penetration by Jesuit there. They had some people in the backfield, and he was tripped up on the play by Chad Perniciaro and Kurt Bookert. On the right defensive side for Jesuit, Perniciaro, 6 feet, 205, a senior. Bookert, 5'11", 185, a senior.
Not much going for Dennis Burks, trying to find a crease somewhere in that offensive front. There's been a lot of young guys in the offensive front for the St. Augustine Purple Knights have asserted themselves in '94 and learned on the job. So it's been quite an experience for the offensive front for the Purple Knights this year.
I mentioned Bookert. He had a touchdown on a fumble recovery in the end zone in the win over Holy Cross. 2nd and 10 from the Jesuit 48. Evans wants to throw and does. Incomplete. Looked like the communication wasn't all there as he tried to get it to the talented Jamal Barnes, the split end, the senior. Coverage on the play applied by Roger Pino. It will be 3rd down and 10. Well, we mentioned that the Jesuit quarterback Childress had his best game of the year against St. Augustine the first time these two teams played. Well, Renee, the same can be said of Kareem Evans. He was 17 of 22, 194 yards and 2 touchdowns against Jesuit.
He understands the offense. He's a lot more relaxed. He's throwing well, and he's really in sync with his receivers, which makes a tremendous difference for a quarterback.
Charles in the slot right, in motion, was Charles. Evans rolling right. Evans out of bounds. Just couldn't find anyone, and he wisely just took it out of bounds, being pursued by 48 Ian McCaffrey, the linebacker. who had 15 tackles in a win over De La Salle, 12 tackles in a win over Holy Cross.
And Paniciaro, number 87, you can see him bearing down as Kareem Evans doesn't know from the blind side. Paniciaro coming up, and finally he's bumped out of bounds or forced out of bounds, and that was McCaffrey, an all-district performer for the Blue Jays.
Punting situation, and the punt is away by Bates. Fair catch called for, and they get away from it. This ball's inside the 10. This ball is killed inside the 5. Great special teams by St. Augustine, and downing the football for the Purple Knights. What a job there of getting down to cover the football. Can't pick out the number. It looked like 69. Might have been 68, actually. Burnell St. Cyr. So we don't have a 69. Just a great job by the Purple Knights of covering the ball, and as a result, Jesuit will have to start from its own 5-yard line officially. 6:55 to play in the first with no score.
The thing that the St. Augustine Purple Knights must do is stop the passing game, stop Galemi, and they must control that line of scrimmage. They miss a guy, Robert Mixon, and we'll talk about him a little bit later.
Again, that 3 wide receiver set to the right, played man-to-man by the Purple Knight defense, and the give to Galemi. He has really hit hard at the line of scrimmage. What a pop there, helmet to helmet, and that was Ray Notch Thompson. He is some athlete, 6'3", 210, a junior, a returning starter. He was a strong safety last year. He leads this team with 8 sacks, had 2 sacks in their big win over Brother Martin. No gain, it's 2nd and 10.
Hey, Ray Notch, only a junior, and you're going to see him square up and really put the helmet on him right here, stopping Galemi in his tracks, fought up a block, and he's really adjusted well from strong safety to defensive end.
Same set, strong left formation, 3 wide receivers right. Nothing for Gibbons. He's stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Stuffed on the play by Rashi Bates, the inside linebacker, 5'11", 170, a senior. His twin brother Ravi punted just a moment ago. Rashi had a 45-yard interception return for a touchdown in the win over Brother Martin.
And Bates really understands that defense. He comes up. It's really nowhere to run for the Jesuit running backs, just trying to find something. Gibbons is thrown abruptly to the surface, and now the Jesuit Blue Jays facing a 3rd and long, 10 yards to go.
Tough place to throw the ball from, but they may try to here on 3rd and 10 from the 5. St. Aug showing a press defense here, and they give it to Galemi. Maybe a yard, and that's all. Tackle made by Rashi Bates. We head down the field level for this injury update from Laura Murphy. Laura?
Okay, Kenny, Sean Rhodes has had his ankle stepped on, and they're putting what's called a heel lock, and that's a different way of taping his ankle, and it cuts down his range of motion. You should look to see him back in the game momentarily. Kenny?
Thank you very much, Laura. Let's hope that is, in fact, the case. Another great series defensively for St. Aug. Punting from deep in his end zone is Pat Neely. Tough place to punt from, but he must. Gets it away and kicks away from the receivers again. It bounces at the 38, past the 40, and it's picked up by Jamal Barnes, trying to get outside and get some yardage. He's inside the 35 and down near the Jesuit 33. Great field position for the Purple Knights. Well, the special teams playing a big role here. St. Aug punted them deep and held them, and now they have the first outstanding field position of the game with 4:57 to play in the first and no score.
You got a good look at Jamal Barnes right there. He's an all-district kickoff and punt return specialist, and he twisted an ankle. He's back to full speed now. Early in the season, he was plagued with some injuries, but he is an outstanding player with a lot of speed, 5'10", 5'8", 155-pounder.
Bergson Fobbs, the running back. Charles is the wingman. He's in motion left. This is Fobbs. To about the 32 and then driven back. Bookert was there along with 31 Ted Nass, who's moved from defensive end to defensive tackle. The returning starter, a senior. Became a starter when Trepanier Bonner was hurt last year. He's been a starter ever since. Moved from defensive end when Lyndon Jones was hurt. He has an interception this year as well. 2nd down along 8, the 32-yard line for St. Augustine. Barnes wide right. The slot man is Bates. Evans wants to run. Evans to the outside, can't evade the tackle of 48 Ian McCaffrey. McCaffrey, good pursuit from his inside linebacking position. Was able to get Evans a short gain of a yard. It will be 3rd down and a long 7.
McCaffrey with outstanding. He was forced inside right here. McCaffrey makes the tackle. McCaffrey, an all-district performer this year, and he is the headhunter. He's the leading tackler on the team. Had 15 tackles against De La Salle, 12 against Holy Cross. He plays sideline to sideline, Kenny.
Charles wide left along with Barnes. High formation, Burks and Fobbs behind Evans. From the pocket, under pressure, throws deep middle, pass caught. Look at this effort, and inside the 10, a first down and goal to go for St. Aug on a terrific throw and a better catch and run by Michael Davis, the tight end. Davis at 6'3", 195, a junior, comes up with the first big play of the game.
And he throws a middle route right here to Michael Davis. Michael Davis shares that tight end position with Derek Lewis. Much known, a lot more people know about Derek Lewis, but Michael Davis has done an outstanding job, only a junior. He's back for another year, and he's really come on, got great hands and great effort, as he showed right there, Ken.
Roger Pino on the stop, first down. Goal to go, the ball is inside the 10. Burks. Flag down. Burks down at about the 3. 68, Brian Lamont makes the stop, but the flag might bring this one back.
Dennis Burks, great field vision and great leg strength. He's a long jumper and triple jumper for the Purple Knights, and boy, he puts his head down. So many great running backs. He may be the best of the lot for the Purple Knights.
This one is coming back. It's against St. Augustine, and I believe it's holding. Big penalty forthcoming here. The Knights were at the doormouth, but
illegal procedure on the offense. 5 yards. We'll play first down over.
Not holding, but procedure. 5 yards. First and goal now. From the 14-yard line as Tony Villegas looks on. You talk about penalties. Biggest stat from that first game with Jesuit and St. Aug. Jesuit had no turnovers. They also had no penalties in that football game.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Don't make mistakes. You have a great chance to win. Twin receivers left. Timeout called. Kareem Evans didn't like what he saw. Wisely took a timeout with 2:43 to play in the first. No score from Tad Gormley on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
The original Bone Ford in New Orleans has got your number, 0.9, 0.9. Right now, this week only, when you buy any new Ford Taurus from the original Bone Ford, you'll pay only 0.9% interest and save big too. America's best-selling car from New Orleans' favorite car dealer has a low, low price and 0.9% interest. Try getting that from a bank. Don't forget the big savings on America's top-selling truck, the F-150. Right now, at the original Bone Ford, your 15-minute dealer, just 15 minutes from Metairie, St. Bernard, and the West Bank.
Ken Trahan, Renee Nato from Tad Gormley Stadium. No score, but St. Augustine threatening. The Purple Knights 8-3 overall, 5-2 in the district this year. Three-way tie for second, with Jesuit and Brother Martin represented the league as the second-place team.
Scholar athletes coming up.
Jesuit 8-3, 5-2, same records. Represented the district fourth. Let's look at our Scholar athletes presented by Gainell J. Martin Insurance. Randy Gibbons, the fullback we saw a moment ago, running the ball, a 3.7 GPA. Robert Nixon, who had appendicitis earlier this year, almost ready to come back and play, has been practicing. The defensive tackle, a 3.6 GPA. Folks, at these two fine institutions, those are great accomplishments. Our congratulations to Randy Gibbons and Robert Nixon, and thanks to Gainell J. Martin Insurance for sponsoring this fine recognition. The pitch to Burks. Burks fighting his way down near the 5-yard line. Boy, I'll tell you, Jesuit had some people there, but Burks just eluded the first two guys. He's quite a ball player. Dennis Burks, 760 yards on the year, coming in, 10 touchdowns. And Renee, he just beat the initial two men of the line of scrimmage here.
Kurt Bookert from Jesuit drew a beat on him, and he just couldn't take him down. Dennis Burks step in, step out, and a good fade step, and he gets about 4 or 5 yards when there was really nothing there. But good blocking, good seal blocking to allow Burks to get outside, and now it's a 2nd and 7 as they're knocking on the door of the Blue Jays.
Second and goal from the 7. Marcus Scott made the stop. He's a fine tackler. Charles in motion. Evans to throw. Has Charles at the 5. Touchdown! Damian Charles on the pass from Kareem Evans. And the Purple Knights strike first at the 1:52 mark of the first quarter.
And that was a route situation where he was running a corner route, just running to the flag. And Kareem Evans put it right where it needed to be, on the inside shoulder where it cannot be intercepted, right there. And he just beats his man to the flag, into the end zone, touchdown, and St. Augustine draws first blood. 1 minute, 52 seconds remain, the extra point upcoming.
Jamal Fobbs will try that, straightaway kicker. And he's got it. Time out on the field, 1:52 to play first quarter. It's the Purple Knights 7, and the Blue Jays nothing on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
Hi, I'm School Board Member Robert Wolf. It takes commitment and dedication to be a student athlete today. Several years ago, the Jefferson Parish School Board adopted a pass-to-play policy requiring students to maintain a C average and no failing grades to play sports. Unfortunately, today, many of the problems in our schools are directly related to us parents not doing our job. If you're not involved with your child and their education, I urge you to get involved and stay involved. Together, we can make a difference.
Field position, a big plus for St. Augustine, a short drive. Outstanding execution on the touchdown, and the Purple Knights lead 7-0.
5 plays, 33 yards. Kareem Evans, 7-yard toss to Damian Charles. Extra point good, and now St. Augustine leads 7-0.
Nemesis Bates will kick it on the ground once more. Scott and Dodson deep. That's Danny Dodson. Fielded by a short man at the 44-yard line. Well, you're going to get good field position on these kicks if you can field the ball. Jesuits handled both of them so far. And the tight end, Bumpus, fielding that one. Here's a look at the score once more.
Kareem Evans airing it out and throwing a good pass to Charles, and he had beaten his man. That's a tough pass to defend against, Kenny, with the speed that Charles has. He just beat him to the flag and dances into the end zone. But Jesuit does have good field position at their own 44-yard line.
Straight eye formation. Golemi running right. Tripped up. Short yardage. And that's Raynodge Thompson. Well, if he gets by Thompson, he's got something going. But so far, St. Augustine has really tackled well, and they haven't allowed Jesuit to run the ball very well. Thompson is slow to get up after making that tackle. He's on the ground as Lenny Reese looks on. The St. Augustine staff will come out. The trainer will come out to check him out and see if everything's okay. So we'll take a timeout with 1:34 to play first quarter. With our score, the St. Augustine Purple Knights 7, the Jesuit Blue Jays nothing. Back in just a moment on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
Throw me something, mister. Throw me something. Hey, the mannequins are so real here at the Mardi Gras Museum. One just threw me a cup. You've got to come to Rivertown and see our greatest new attraction, the Mardi Gras Museum, sponsored by Jefferson Parish and the city of Kenner. What you're going to see are floats and costumes and doubloons and films and every possible imaginable Mardi Gras theme. The history, the experience, the sights and sounds, they're all here. Come on down to Rivertown and enjoy Mardi Gras all year long.
Well, folks, why not? A full moon over Tad Gormley tonight. Let's see what it has in the offing. Thompson leaves the field under his own power. In fact, he spread it off. He'll be back. 2 yards on that play for Golemi. 2nd and 8, Jesuit with their own 46. Motion by Bro. Childress rolling. He's in trouble. He's in big trouble. He's sacked. Purple Knights with great pressure. Roland Seymour, 55. James Hall, 56. 3rd and long.
James Hall with great speed, 4.7. He's the fastest of that front four for the Purple Knights. And yes, Parish Childress rolling left, nowhere to go. And you see James Hall breathing down on him, or that's Seymour rather, and James Hall catches up with him. They've done a great job in fact, in the absence of Nixon, who's been out all year long, 6'5", 275-pound prospect. This line has done great all year.
3rd and 17. Childress wants to throw again. Does deep middle, and the pass is caught. What a catch. Or did he catch it? He did catch the football, and that's a first down at the St. Augustine 44. What a catch by Jacob Bro. Blanket coverage and quite a throw by Parish Childress.
Scott Pierre with the coverage. He's a first-year starter, and you can't cover much better than this. Number 38 is just about in his back pocket. But yes, a great catch by Jacob Bro. First down for the Blue Jays.
Boy, that's great camera work. That ball was embedded on his knee pad, never touched the ground even though he was bobbling it. Great work, guys, and you can see the catch. Watch once more.
He never lost concentration and kept his eye on the ball, and now it's a big first down for the Blue Jays.
Golemi, a nice cutback, crosses the 40 to the 39. Picks up about 5 yards. Sean Goodwin was there defensively, but that's the first positive running play for Galemi and the Blue Jays in this game as they have a drive going as the first quarter is about to come to a close from Tad Gormley Stadium. The battle is on. The battle is joined. Second round of the state playoffs. District 7 5A rivals St. Augustine and Jesuit. And after one quarter of play, here's our score. It's the Purple Knights 7 and the Blue Jays nothing. We're back with our second quarter of action in just a moment on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
When you want all the action, get rocked. Every Friday at 10:30 on WGNO.
Second quarter begins. 7-0 Purple Knights. Jesuit a 2nd and 5 for the Purple Knight 39. 3 wide receivers set for Jesuit left. Galemi, the lone running back. Gibbons in motion. They give to Galemi. Forget it. He is trapped and dropped in the backfield for a big loss. Reynolds Thompson on the hit, but the defensive front, Kenneth Jackson and Rowan Seymour in particular, made him stop in his tracks, and that's when Thompson was able to get him, Renee.
Yes, Thompson is the guy. He fills the role that Michael Baudouin, who's moved on to Texas, filled last year for the Purple Knights. Reynolds Thompson moves over from the safety position. Great foot speed. He's a very aggressive, and I tell you what, he's got great field presence, but they bottled up Galemi in that last play.
Loss of 3. It's 3rd and 8 now for the Blue Jays. Gibbons in motion. Childress wants to throw. Heavy pressure. He is sacked again for the 3rd time in the game. St. Augustine with great pressure in the person of James Hall. His 2nd sack of the game, or at least 1.5. Their second leading tackler with 60 stops and 3 fumble recoveries comes up big again.
Hall with a big bull rush, and he was not to be denied. He fought off a blocker. It was 4.7 speed. He's quick for a defensive lineman, probably one of the best athletes on the team, and he plays defensive tackle for the Purple Knights.
Neely to punt. Charles and Barnes are deep for St. Augustine. Neely stands at about his 39. A good look at Jamal Barnes. Neely kicks toward the sideline. Good-looking kick. And it stays in bounds, and that's a touchback. That thing was hugging the sideline, but it stayed in bounds. A touchback, and St. Augustine gets it at its own 20 with 10:34 to play in the half, and a 7-0 lead. This Purple Knight football team, Renee, extremely talented, manifested by their awesome win over Brother Martin 48-7 and by a huge win over Rummel 42-7. When they put it together, they're as good as anybody in the state.
I concur, Kenny. This is going to be a war tonight, and you see some points up, but you see some battered and bruised bodies before it's all over.
Still Burks and Rhodes in the backfield. Rhodes, not Rhodes, but Fobbs. Rhodes has not returned. Big hole. Burks and a first down to about the 36-yard line. Straight up the gut, and Burks just keeps churning those knees, and it makes a big difference. Dennis Burks is some football player as we watch him again.
Great running up the middle, and you can credit Reginald Lombard, a 6'3.5", 260-pound senior, with a great block. He's the go-to offensive lineman. To show you how good he is, Kenny, as an offensive lineman last year, you may recall, he was named the game MVP against Hornbill. So what a blocker, and he really stands out in that offensive front.
What a game Burks had against Kennedy earlier this year. That's right, Kennedy. 235 yards against JFK.
I don't recall that, Ken.
I remember it very well. Fobbs running left. Fobbs staying on his feet. What an effort by Fobbs. He gets to about the 40. A pickup of about 5. It will be 2nd and 5. We check in once more with our field reporter, Laura Murphy.
Thanks, Kenny. I noticed before the game tonight, the Jesuit had on the back of their helmets number 26 and the initials BK. BK is in memory of Brett Kreller, who was a starting fullback last year for the Jesuit Blue Jays. Brett has gone on to be a freshman at USL, and he is sadly missed by family, friends, and certainly his old teammates.
Our sympathies to the Kreller family as well. Terrific young man. He was quite a football player for Jesuit, and he is sorely missed. On 2nd down, look at Burks just keep fighting. He gets only about a yard, but he just never stops pumping those legs, Renee, the sign of a really good running back. That's why the first man very seldom puts him down. Watch this, he's met right away in the hole, but he just keeps turning. Actually ran into his own man.
He fights. In fact, there's 2 or 3 Blue Jays going to have shots at him before he finally goes down. 4, 5, 6 count white shirts. That brings Dennisburg down. That's why he's got 791 yards, 10 touchdowns, but he's really being highly recruited by the biggies around the country.
Booker really the main man on the stop there. It's 3rd down and 4 from the 41. Twin receivers right. I formation. This is Burks. Nothing. 68, Brian Lamont led the charge along with Scott Schlegel, and St. Augustine will have to punt the football.
Lamont stood him up right here and allowed his teammates to join him in, and Lamont, you're not going to move him too often. He's 6 feet, 225-pound junior. Bench press is 235. He's the shot put for the Jesuit Blue Jay track team, and he's quite an athlete. Gives it everything he has from his left defensive tackle position.
Pino and Scott are deep to receive the punt from Ravi Bates. There's Ravi standing at his 28. Good snap. High punt, end over end. Dangerous, fair catch and a fumble. St. Augustine appears to have it, and they do. Coming up with a football for the Purple Knights, 62, Eric Green. Scott fielding that ball dangerously with 3 purple jerseys right in his face. And the first turnover of the game goes St. Augustine's way.
He heard footsteps, Ken, and there's no doubt about it. And in fact, quite a few purple jerseys had opportunities. But number 62 is Johnny on the spot, comes up with a big special teams play. Eric Green for the Purple Knights, great field position at the Jesuit 33-yard line.
The hit by Preston, 31. Anthony Preston. Knights have it at the Jesuit 33. Same place they started their touchdown drive from. Evans, straight drop. Wants to throw, going deep down the middle. Charles just overthrown and incomplete. Had his man beat. Derby's chasing. But you saw the speed of Damian Charles right there. Post pattern, and he was there.
Damian Charles plays wide receiver and running back. He's got 4.4 speed. He can run. He's got 5 catches. He had a 50-yarder against Slidell, but he's the deep guy, and he opens up that offense and allows the defense to get deep-minded, which also helps the running game.
Renee, I love the philosophy there. Big turnover and go for the jugular right away. They had an opportunity right there.
That's very smart, very sound thinking.
Purple Knights confused with their formation. Bates now finally sprints wide right on 2nd and 10 from the 33. This is Barnes, and he's down in the backfield, a loss of about a yard. 41, Kurt Booker covered him, but that play didn't look good from the start.
Well, Barnes, he's got some good speed, Kenny. Right inside handoff right here, following Lombard around the outside, but Barnes had a 65-yarder called back against Slidell because of a penalty, so he can scoot the outside if he gets his hands on the ball.
He's their best wide receiver, 16 catches, 252 yards, and a touchdown on the year. Had a 23-yarder against Kennedy for a touchdown.
He keeps saying Kennedy, that's my alma mater, but I'm going to take a shot at Rummel very soon, believe me.
On 3rd and 11, Evans to throw on the flat, has Burks. Burks can't shake the tackle of 15, Ryan Derbies, who made a good play there to prevent Burks from turning it upfield further. It will be 4th down from the Jesuit 28. The Purple Knights will likely go for it here.
Little flip pass, and it's tough to get him down one-on-one, but a good job by Derbies, and they're knocking on the door, and they're going to go for it. The Purple Knights 4th and a few yards to go, confidence. They really don't have that much of a field goal kicker, Kenny, so they're going to go for this. And,
it's 4th and 4, and it's the only play here. Fans on their feet. Wide left comes Nemesis Bates along with Damian Charles. Split backs behind Evans. Fobbs. He is close. Very close. Depends on where the mark is. He needed to get it inside the 24. It looks like they've marked it at the 24.
Fobbs,
this is really close.
He really squares his shoulders. He got a nose for the ball, nose for the goal. But boy, he smelled out that first down marker, and he missed it probably. I tell you what, if he missed it by a sniffle, Kenny.
Where they marked the ball, I would say he's probably short by half a football, Renee. It's that close.
The thing that Fobbs, I'll tell you what the thing about Fobbs, they call him the natural. And of course, he's the son of Lee Fobbs, who coaches for the LSU Fighting Tigers. And the Jesuit Blue Jays have held, and now they get the possession of the ball. 5 minutes, 54 seconds to go before halftime.
Big stop for Jesuit. as St. Augustine, following the turnover, unable to convert, and the Blue Jays get it back from their own 25-yard line, 1st and 10, with 5:54 to play in the half.
Bob's trying to get everything he can, reaching that ball out, hoping he'll get a good spot, but he was already down before he tried to reach that ball out, so the ball was dead.
Wide right is Brian Weiss, I formation. And motion from Gibbons. Childress faking, stopping, throwing, deep down the middle, has a man, incomplete. In and out of the hands of Jacob Bro, bless his heart, he had a couple of steps. Good throw by Childress as well.
It was a great throw and great pocket presence by Paris Childress. He's unbelievable with his confidence, Kenny, and he's really come on this season. He throws. He's a lot like Ali Demarest, who's at Tulane right now, when Ali used to play for the Blue Jays, and got great pocket presence, and he knows he'll stand back there and take the rush and feel the heat, but he'll let it go at the right time, which he did.
Boy, Bro's a very fine receiver, too. 15 catches, 382 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the year. 2nd and 10 to 25, another play fake. Pass in the flat, cart by Gibbons. Gibbons turns it upfield and gets a first down across the 35 and out to about the 36 before he's wrapped up on the play by the Purple Knight defense. And Jesuit has a first down. And Renee, I think Jesuit has changed their approach now. They've gone to the play fake, and I really think the way this game shapes up, they're going to have to throw on early downs to set up the run.
I agree with that, and usually Jesuit in the past would have thrown maybe 8 to 10 times. I suspect you see the Blue Jays airing it out probably 15 to 20 times. Some by design, some by necessity, but whatever makes the offense work. 5 minutes, 21 seconds to go before half.
Twin receivers left. Again, the play fake. Stopping, throwing deep down the sideline for Gibbons. Great coverage and incomplete. Terrific coverage on the play. Applied by 6, Kamau Smith. Smith doing a great job. He absolutely had him blanketed. Childress under heavy pressure throughout the course of the game thus far, Renee.
And watch, Childress is going to take a big hit right here, staying in the pocket. And that was Raynoch Thompson coming from his outside linebacker or defensive end, whatever you prefer. And again, he's that rush guy filling in the way Michael Baudouin was last year.
I'd like to see how many schools are interested in him next year. He's a junior, and he's some athlete. He's played strong safety one year, linebacker the next. And he can run. 2nd and 10. Childress. Pass incomplete. In the flat for Bumpus. And it will be 3rd down and 10.
Kenny, we keep talking about Michael Baudouin, and he was slotted to play for the Texas Longhorns this year as a true freshman. He sustained a hamstring injury, and he'll be redshirted. He'll be back next year. Tony Villegas tells us he's about 235 with about 4.7 speed. What a prospect he will be for the Longhorns, former Purple Knight.
Yeah, he's a splendid football player. Number 97 for the Knights a year ago. 3 wide receivers left. Watch the pressure from St. Aug here. They have been chasing Childress throughout the game. Quick snap. Here they come. Look at this. Childress had no chance. He was decked by 90. Rashi Bates blitzing on the play. Bates drills him in a punting situation, and Childress is really taking too many shots.
And Rashi Bates makes the defensive calls. He called his own number right here. They came with a full blitz, and really Paris Childress had nowhere to go, no other option, and now Neely will have to punt it away for the Blue Jays.
Standing at about his 12-yard line. St. Aug should get good field position again. Nice job of fielding the ball by Barnes. Look at Barnes. He did an excellent job. He may have saved his team about 15 yards in field position out to the 46. McCaffrey tackles him. 4:19 to play in the half. The Purple Knights leading 7-0 and with good field position once more.
And he shows why he's an all-district performer. Tight wiring that sideline, cuts it back, reverses his field, looking for blockers, finds a crease right here, Kenny. Just a great individual effort before he's brought down to the surf, but he's got great instinct for a return specialist.
Kareem Evans, the talented junior quarterback. Burks. Once again, he keeps those legs pumping. Initially stopped at the line of scrimmage, but he managed to get 2 or 3 before Ridge Bourgeois, the 5'11", 190-pound sophomore, tackles. And boy, Ridge had a great game against Brother Martin when we did their game a couple of weeks ago. He has 2 interceptions on the year, both against Rummel, in a big win for Jesuit to end the regular season.
You see the offensive front with Matthews and Lamar to the right side. That's where the St. Augustine Purple Knights get most of their yards on the right side behind two guys, 260, 265. Great size in the offensive front.
Plotting strategy with the defense, Coach Villegas. Here's the pitch to Burks. Burks trying to get outside. Cannot evade the tackle of 48, Ian McCaffrey. Boy, we are calling his name a lot, aren't we? It's a pickup of about 2. It will be 3rd down and about 5 for St. Augustine. McCaffrey really doing the job.
Kenny, he's a 4'7" guy, and he covers sideline to sideline. And boy, I tell you, he follows in tradition of some great linebackers that have come through here with the Jesuit Blue Jays. And only a junior who will be back. He is the headhunter, a 6'1", 190-pounder, and he will be back for the 1995 season.
Yeah, both are inside linebackers. Bourgeois, a sophomore, McCaffrey, a junior. Best one they've had in recent years, Marchant Kenny. He was a very good football player. On 3rd and 5, Charles in motion right. Evans, straight keeper, cuts it up. Hit, stop. Ridge Bourgeois hit him and locked him. That's perfect tackling technique. Got him with the shoulder, kept his head up, and then he locked him to prevent him from evading that tackle, Renee.
Good coaching as he came along. He followed his coaches, and Ridge Bourgeois, only a sophomore, great tackle right here, using his shoulder, not the helmet. If the youngster's watching this game right now and allows his teammates to help him with the tackle, it's a 4th and short for the Purple Knights.
Ravi Bates to punt it away. Roger Pino, single safety here. Good pressure, but he got it off. End over end. Fair catch called for. They'll leave this one alone wisely. Doesn't get much of a bounce. Killed at about the 22-yard line by 31, Anthony Preston, who came up with a big hit to force that fumble last time. Jesuit gets it back, 2:13 to play in the half, trailing 7-0. Well, you have to give credit to the Jesuit defense, Renee. They've been pinned back throughout this half. St. Augustine's had great field position, but they've only been able to capitalize one time thus far. The Jesuit defense has kept the Blue Jays in the game.
Well, you know, Jesuit has a good defense, Kenny. They've only allowed 10 points per outing to their opponents, so don't downplay the importance how well they've played this year. A lot of no-name guys who don't get a lot of recognition, but great, solid players.
Golemi sprints forward across the 25 to about the 26, a pickup of 4. It will be 2nd down and 6. Clock will tick under 2 minutes here. Fast-moving first half has been cleanly played. Very few penalties. Jesuit hasn't run the ball like they did a year ago, but they've had some good games. 239 yards against Rummel rushing in the final game of the regular season. Their offense, 282 points coming into this game. High formation. Play fake, Childress with time now, throwing deep. Incomplete, intended for Bro again. He had a step. Skylar Pierre was covering. Childress shows you quite an arm there, doesn't he? He threw that ball a long way.
He's got 70-yard range. So when he throws the ball, Kenny, he can throw from his own 30 and hit in the end zone across the field. He's got great arm, a lot stronger than people think he does, and he checks off. In fact, you know, he's got a background of a javelin thrower. He was 3rd in the state as a sophomore, 3rd in the state last year, so don't be surprised if Jesuit airs it out long before the game's over.
3rd and 5, the 27. Childress faking. He's going to be sacked for the 4th time in the game, and there's James Hall again. James Hall has just been dominant up front. St. Augustine will take a timeout wisely now with 1:20 to go. 1:19, 18, 17. They haven't stopped the clock yet. They were signaling for a timeout. They finally get it with 1:16 to play in the half. He'll get the ball and one more chance to score. 7-0 Purple Knights on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
Throw me something, mister. Throw me something. Hey, the mannequins
for allowing us to do this game, and they deserve all the accolades they can get. They've done a marvelous job, the principal Carl Bluen and the president Joseph Doyle. Kareem Evans to throw on 1st down, pass caught. This is Fobbs. Fobbs crosses midfield, and he gets down to about the Jesuit 47 and has a 1st down and gets the clock stopped. Good pass and a great job by Fobbs of not only catching the ball, but finding the sideline, and Kareem Evans can really play this league, truthfully. 1st and 10 to 47. Evans, obviously one of those. Wide side, the left side of the field. He stops, steps up, and throws. Pass caught by Derek Lewis, close to another 1st down at the 38-yard line. Kareem Evans off to a fast start. 5 of 7, 56 yards and a touchdown. And that interference call. He had a big game against Jesuit earlier this year, as we mentioned. Burks shakes a tackle. Burks to the outside. Burks cuts in. Dennis Burks to the end zone. Touchdown! 22 yards officially. What a run by Dennis Burks, and the Purple Knights have a 13-0 lead.
Yes, he did break some tackles, but
and this one bounces high, and Jesuit gets it right around midfield. Again, a good job of fielding the ball by the Blue Jays. It'll look like 46 for Jesuit. Guy Bumpus once more. He recovered one previously. And now with 30 seconds left and the ball right near midfield, Jesuit is only 2 first downs away from Pat Neely range. They do have 1 timeout remaining here, having spent 2 already. But this half is far from over.
Yes, it is, Kenny. In fact, Jesuit has gotten deep on the Purple Knight defense. They just haven't connected on a long pass, but Paris Childress, look for him to air it out deep right here.
Bro is left, Weiss is right. Gibbons the lone setback. Childress stopping and throwing. Got his man. That's a first down and more. And a really good job by Jacob Bro all the way down inside the 20 to the 18.
As he's surrounded by a sea of purple jerseys, 26, and yes, they're in Pat Neely range.
Well, Jacob Bro had a big game against Holy Cross, 3 catches, 101 yards, and a bigger game against Slidell, 4 catches, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that game. He had a 36-yard touchdown catch and a win over Rummel. So he's been that type of receiver all year. Jesuit has big receivers. Bro 6'1", Weiss 6'1", Bumpus 6'3". So if they can get themselves positioned to the inside, it's going to be tough to get through that receiver to knock the football away.
And don't be surprised if he throws to his running backs. Both Galemi and Gibbons can both catch coming out of the backfield.
On first down, 20 seconds to play in the half. Twin receivers left, a single receiver right. Childress looking, throwing, deep, end zone, corner route, incomplete, flag down. Definite interference on the play. To see them throw to Galemi out of the backfield in the flat perhaps in this situation. Or Gibbons, both are good receivers. Split backs behind Childress. St. Aug showing blitz, here they come. Heavy pressure, the throw is batted down. And the pressure was simply too much again. Guess who? 56, James Hall, with 8 seconds to play in the half.
And we mentioned put him an opportunity to win the game last week against Bonneville.
One of his 3 interceptions on the year, and that was the biggest, obviously. This is a 25-yard attempt by Neely. Straight away, good snap, ball down. The kick is perfect. What else would you expect from Pat Neely, the all-district place kicker in 7-5A, and it comes on the final play of the first half. At the end of one half, here at Tad Gormley Stadium, Jesuit back in the ball game, but St. Augustine has had the better of it thus far. It's the Purple Knights 14 and the Blue Jays 3. We're back with our halftime show in just a moment on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week. Todd Galemi for Jesuit, 8 carries, only 16 yards. Jacob Bro, their leading receiver, 2 catches, 51 yards. And Pat Neely booms this one. Touchback. No surprise. St. Augustine will start from its own 20. Leading 14-3. We'll check the St. Aug offense. Field position was a big plus for St. Aug in the first half. They had much the better of it. And the Purple Knight offense is led by Kareem Evans, who has had a very fine first half. 5 out of 7, the 6', 200-pound junior. He's got some future. He's quite a player. Evans, Burks. Rhodes is hurt. Bobbs has been in there for the Purple Knights. Matthews, Lombard, Jenkins, Boudreau, and Lombard up front. The Lombard's not related. Fobbs dots the I. Burks the up back. Burks gets it. Look at Burks. Again, that leg drop. Ball comes out, but he was stopped. His forward progress stopped near the 25. He got 5 yards out of what looked like not much. You see 72, Carl Matthews, a good offensive lineman, not taking any chances. He jumped on that football.
Dennis Burks with great leg strength. He's the long jumper and triple jumper for the Purple Knight track team. So, yes, he's moving a pile, and number 72, Matthews, jumps on the ball and take nothing for granted. St. Augustine knows very, very well how that works.
Ted Nass on the stop at 2nd and 5. We'll check the Jesuit defense in a moment. Just underway, third quarter, 14-3 Purple Knights. Twin receivers left. Burks has been their primary ball carrier in this game, with Rhodes being hurt. Fobbs, big hole. Fobbs and a first down across the 35-yard line to about the 36. Roger Pino and Marcus Scott had to make the stop, but Jamal Fobbs has great speed. The Jesuit defensive line of Ferniciaro, Lamont, Nass, and Scott Schlegel, whose brother Mike was a fine player at Jesuit and now toils for the University of Kentucky. Ridge Bourgeois, Ian McCaffrey, Bookert, and the board of the linebackers, Pino, Derbies, and Scott, are the defensive backs. A big hole for Jamal Fobbs on the last play.
Yes, a big hole opened by Lombard, Jenkins, and Boudreaux that allowed Fobbs to dance through for a big gain. 1st and 10, St. Augustine.
Charles, the motion man. Good fake by Evans. Throwing. Pass caught. 50, 45, and down to the Jesuit 40-yard line is 81 Michael Davis. Perfect throw. Scott on the stop, and a first down, Purple Knights. Well-executed play.
Yes, it was a well-executed play. Michael Davis has played in the shadow somewhat of much-heralded Derek Lewis, but what a great catch he makes with his fingertips, Kenny. Great hands and great blocker. He can do it all, and he's only a junior, 6'3", 190-pounder. Will be back next year.
25 yards officially. They mark it at the Jesuit 39. Quick snap. This is Fobbs. To the 38, a yard, and that's all. It will be 2nd and 9. There's Pino at the bottom of the pile for Jesuit, along with 33, Ridge Bourgeois. You might recall Fobbs is the one that broke the big 86-yard run on 4th down for St. Augustine late in the ball game in the regular season matchup last year between these two teams that won the game for St. Augustine. As Mark Sanjay looks on, what a job he's done at Jesuit. In his 3rd year, 22-13, he is a terrific young coach. From the 38. And a little premature movement on the right side by St. Augustine. Fobbs got the ball, but this play is blown dead. It will be a dead ball, illegal procedure against St. Augustine, I believe. St. Aug's players are motioning against Jesuit.
Ball start on the offense. 5 yards, repeat the down.
It was wishful thinking, obviously. We saw the movement.
Well, the thing is that what St. Augustine must do, Kenny, must control the line of scrimmage, which they have both offensively and defensively. They must run the ball, they must throw with success, but they must run a balanced attack. Throw when they want to throw, run when they want to run. They've done just that. The thing about Jesuit, they must seize opportunities, which St. Augustine has not afforded them many opportunities with no turnovers thus far.
Solid football by the Purple Knights has resulted in a 14-3 lead. Driving, 2nd and 14 now, the Jesuit 43. Quick drop, flag down, they hit Charles. Charles breaks a tackle, goes out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. There is a flag down. The contact by Bobby O'Neill. I wonder if they had enough men at the line of scrimmage, Renee.
Well, I didn't notice that. I was looking at Jesuit's defense. They had a 4-man front. They're going with 3 linebackers and a defensive back playing very close to the line of scrimmage. They will be going against the Purple Knights.
It's procedure against St. Aug of some sort.
Illegal procedure on the offense. 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
So another 5-yard penalty. Back-to-back penalties have slowed this impressive drive. 2nd down, about 19 now from the 48 with 9:03 to play in the 3rd.
Well, we probably will not see Sean Rhodes. He limped off the field. In fact, he was aided coming off and on the field, so you probably won't see the senior Sean Rhodes, number 30, for the rest of this contest.
Interesting note about St. Augustine. They have lost in the playoffs the last 2 years to the eventual state champions, Karen Crow 2 years ago, and of course West Monroe last year. 2nd and 19. That's Barnes in motion. Sprint draw. Burks. Wrapped up by Ridge Bourgeois at about the 46, a gain of 3. 3rd and about 16. Good job of containing there. I am really impressed with this young Ridge Bourgeois, Renee. He doesn't miss many tackles, does he?
Only a sophomore, and Dennis Burks with an inside handoff right here, following the blocking, and a good blocking, leading the way, offensive lineman. And Dennis Burks, he's being looked at by Notre Dame, is very hot on him right now, and along with Nebraska, LSU, Tulane, Auburn, and Florida. But Dennis Burks is going to make someone an outstanding back. He's only 195 pounds. He can carry a few more pounds, and he still has that 4.5 speed.
He had 2 touchdowns against Holy Cross, 2 touchdowns against De La Salle. Play fake Evans to throw. Stops, throws over the middle. Pass tipped and incomplete. That ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage as they tried to get it to Michael Davis, and the Blue Jays have held. Didn't see who tipped the ball, but it was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and a punting situation for St. Aug.
It looked like Ted Nass may have gotten a hand on the ball, and no, it wasn't Ted Nass because he was on the outside. So it was someone right there, 92, Schlegel was the guy who batted away, so it's 4th down for the Purple Knights.
Ravi Bates to punt. Pino is deep. Bates from his 38, big rush, gets it off. Very high kick. Let's see what kind of bounce he gets. Oh, it hit a St. Augustine player at about the 24. Tough break for the Purple Knights. They probably would have gotten a lot more out of that punt, but Sean Smith, bless his heart, was simply trying to get himself in position. Didn't get turned in time, and the ball struck him, and Jesuit gets the ball. With 7:35 to play in the third, here's Parrish Childress leading his team on the field in the first half, 3 out of 9. But given time, he will do some damage. Time's the big problem, though. Sacked 5 times in the first half.
He's thrown for over 1,200 yards.
Quino, McMinn, Marino, Malinowski, and Higgins, the offensive line for Jesuit. Childress, Gibbons, and Galemi in the backfield. Bro, Bumpus, and Weiss, good receivers.
Watch Weiss, Kenny. I think they're going to be looking for him this series, I'm sure.
Galemi picks his way across the 30 near the 31. A nice cutback there to pick up 4 or 5. Seymour was there along with Sean Johnson defensively. Hall has been tremendous in this game. Jackson and Seymour, that front has really been dominant. Goodwin, Rashi Bates, Claude Hayes, and Ray Notch Thompson, who has been awfully impressive in this game. Kamau Smith, who's had a big game. Hurd, Pierce, and Sean Johnson, who's some hitter back there in the secondary. 2nd and 5 of the 31. Childress faking, rolling, stopping, throwing. Pass caught. And a first down. Guy Bumpus all around the 44-yard line. Again, if they give him time, he'll do damage. Bumpus, a really good tight end. He's big. 6'3", 225, a senior. His 11th catch of the year. 3 touchdowns on the year. He had a touchdown catch against St. Aug earlier this year.
Every time he catches the ball, Kenny, it means a 16.5-yard gain for the Blue Jay offense, and he's a big target, as you alluded to, 6'3", Guy Bumpus.
First down, Jesuit, their own 43. Twin receivers left, Bro and Weiss. They give to Galemi. Gets 1 block from his fullback, Gibbons. He finds some yardage. He's across midfield and near the St. Aug 49. 7 or 8 yards. First time Galemi's seen a hole that size, and he wisely bounced it outside. He is a good reader as a runner, isn't he?
Great vision, Ken.
Rashi Bates on the stop.
And that was a great downfield block. You have to credit Weiss with great downfield blocking. Brian Weiss, number 81. You may not catch him in the screen here. You'll see a white jersey throwing a block right there. Brian Weiss allowed him to get downfield. And 2nd and short yardage for Todd Galemi.
2nd and a long 2. High formation behind Parrish Childress. Throw in motion. And a wrinkle. And Childress will throw deep. And the pass is incomplete. A flag is down, however. Might have defensive holding. Great coverage by Anthony Hurd. He was not fooled at all on the razzle-dazzle as they tried to get it to Brian Weiss. But a flag is down, and that likely will be defensive holding where that flag was thrown.
Kenny, I mentioned a few minutes ago that they're going to look for Brian Weiss this half. I just had a gut feeling they're going to go to him this series, which they have done. Brian Weiss, a 6'2", a big receiver, 14 catches on the season, and he was the guy they went to and got a first down on a penalty, and now they're deep.
On the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Inside the 35-yard line, and this is a situation they need to put points on the board. They can't keep going back to Pat Neely to get them out of this situation with just a field goal.
This is the direction with the wind at their backs, too. And now play will be stopped. Let's see. Now an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the St. Augustine bench will cost them 15 more yards. Wow. A 15-yard penalty for interference, a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. And Renee, they were obviously upset with the call. They were not fooled. The coverage was great, but the interference definitely occurred prior to the ball landing incomplete. That flag was thrown further up the field.
And this is going to give Jesuit a great opportunity now to see if they can make something happen with first down at the 19-yard line of St. Augustine.
Best drive they've had. Look at this. Childress is hit. He is sacked again. Ray Notch Thompson on the blitz. 10-yard loss. 6th sack of the game. And it's 2nd down and 20. We head down the field level now for this update from Laura Murphy. Laura?
Just how bad Sean really was. It seems that he had a very bad sprained ankle. Wayne also out with a very bad sprained ankle, and I don't expect to see either one of them back tonight.
All right, thanks. She was saying Wayne Cordova also is out with a sprained ankle, a linebacker, so Purple Knights have had some key losses in this game, but a big loss there recorded by the Purple Knight defense. The sack at 2nd and 20 to 29. Palemi the lone setback. And now St. Augustine will call timeout. Sean Johnson sprinted toward the official and said, give us timeout. He gets it. 4:43 to play in the third. 14-3 St. Augustine on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
Visit AAA Sporting Goods at 3729 Williams Boulevard and outfit your team with the best in personalized sports apparel. Select from a wide variety of colors and sizes. You can even pick up great gift ideas. Friendly, dependable, quick, and quality service makes AAA the supplier for many of the area's top high schools. Give your order that personal touch with silk screening, embroidery, numbering, and lettering. There's no order too big or too small. This season, make it AAA Sporting Goods, 3729 Williams Boulevard.
We'd like to thank our great friends at Coca-Cola, Kelville, Rubia and Company for providing us with our marvelous facilitation here at Tad Gormley to televise the game. Air-conditioned, enclosed. They always provide some delicious Coca-Cola for us. A tough job, isn't it, Renee?
Nothing beats the company, Kenny. We've been here all year and together, I've said many, many times, no way I'd rather be on a Friday evening right here doing Cox Metro Sports, Cox game, yes. And what a game we have here, 14-3, and the scoring is a lot more scoring to come before this is all over with.
Oh, you're a nice guy, too.
Give me that $1 you owe me, too.
Childress to pass. Throwing deep corner, has a man, caught, touchdown! Great throw by Childress. Jacob Rowe, the post corner route. Perfect execution, 29 yards and a score, and Jesuit has the lead, and I believe Jesuit's quarterback Childress is hurt on the play.
Yes, he is. He's holding his knee, and he's in a lot of pain. We're going to see right here where maybe the injury may have occurred. No, we can't see it, but Paris Childress took a hit from the pressure. Jacob Rowe adjusting to the ball and just keeping his balance, getting in the corner of the end zone, knifing in, and now it's 14-9 with the extra point upcoming. Paris Childress getting some attention right now from Jesuit.
Renee, I'd go for 2 in this situation, down by 5. Try to get it to 3. Kicking the extra point at this point is almost automatic, certainly with Pat Neely. That's Childress right there. That is not Paris Childress that's hurt on the play. Must be an offensive lineman. So Childress is with Mark Sanji on the sideline. We'll try to make out who the injured player is, but while they tend to him, we'll take a timeout. With 4:36 to play, third quarter, and our score, St. Augustine 14 and Jesuit 9. Mark Sanji sprints out to check his injured player on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
Throw me something, mister. Throw me something. Hey, the mannequins are so real here at the Mardi Gras Museum. One just threw me a cup. You've got to come to Rivertown and see our greatest new attraction, the Mardi Gras Museum, sponsored by Jefferson Parish and the city of Kenner. What you're going to see are floats and costumes and doubloons and films and every possible imaginable Mardi Gras theme. The history, the experience, the sights and sounds, they're all here. Come on down to Rivertown. And
5'8", 195-pound senior. We hope to see him back. Walked off under his own power. Jesuit will go for 2 as we surmised. The motion man is Weiss. Rolling is Childress. Stopping, throwing, and intercepted. So the conversion fails. Great play by Sean Johnson. And the conversion attempt fails. Time out on the field. 4:36 to play in the third quarter. Our score is St. Augustine 14 and Jesuit 9 on the Cox Cable.
Board member Robert Wolf. It takes commitment and dedication to be a student athlete today. Several years ago, the Jefferson Parish School Board adopted a pass-to-play policy requiring students to maintain a C average and no failing grades to play sports. Unfortunately, today, many of the problems in our schools are directly related to us parents not doing our job. If you're not involved with your child and their education, I urge you to get involved and stay involved. Together, we can make a difference.
A look at the Jesuit sideline. They have pulled closer, quite a drive, aided by 2 15-yard penalties. But again, if you give Childress time, Renee, he can do the damage, and this man, Jacob Bro, is getting open with regularity.
Yes, he is, and it was a 5-play drive going 74 yards, aided by a couple of penalties. Paris Childress, the final play, a 29-yard toss to Jacob Bro. The 2-point conversion was not successful. St. Aug leads 14-9.
Pat Neely about to park one in the end zone again. Jamal Fobbs standing at his 8 just in case. No surprise, another touchback as Neely puts another in the end zone. St. Augustine will start from its own 20. Well, the Purple Knights have done the job this year. They've scored a lot of points, 344 coming in. They've allowed only 153. When they get their running game going, they're virtually unbeatable. They had 340 yards rushing in the game against Brother Martin. They had 229 yards rushing against Bonneville in the victory last week, 273 in a win over De La Salle, 347 against Kennedy.
You won't let that die, will you, Kenny?
I love the Cougars, and Coach Walker does a great job just having fun with Renee. Fobbs, short yardage. Fobbs wrapped up by Ridge Bourgeois. Again, when this young man hits you, you don't get away from him, generally speaking. Again, watch the tackling technique.
Really good sound right here. A good tackle from the outside and perhaps a assuring tackle right there. But 2nd and 8, not much running room in that play for the Purple Knight offense.
Play comes in from the sideline with Nemesis Bates. He and Barnes will run in the plays frequently. Bates and Charles are wide right. Burks and Fobbs are the running backs. Fobbs. Again, not much. First man there was Brian Lamont, 68, with help from Ted Nass. Lamont's played a good game, Renee.
Schlegel and Bourgeois also aided in that tackle, and now it's a 3rd and 8, and this has been a tough going in this series for the Purple Knights. It's probably an obvious passing situation, as you just alluded to.
They've thrown the ball well in this game. They have twin receivers right. 3 defensive backs over that way. I formation behind Evans, wide side, the right side. With time, he will go deep for Charles, and incomplete. Pass was underthrown. Not catchable. It landed out of bounds. And Renee, you can see the wind right there. Jesuits had the wind at their back here in the 3rd quarters. That ball had to be thrown to the deep sideline on the opposite side of the field. That's a long pass to make. And you can see in the air that that ball really was knocked down.
Yes, it was. And they'll have a little different situation when they switch sides, switch angles, switch end zones in the 4th quarter.
Jesuits had some pressure on Bates in this game. They get it again, and he kicks it straight up in the air. This one's not going anywhere. Nowhere. Down to about the 24. That's a 2 or 3 yard punt, and the pressure really was huge there.
Jesuit has shown their special teams excellent job all year long, and that may have been pressure which caused him for a less than successful punt on that attempt right there. And you can see right here, he got a leg in it, but he kind of hurried that punt up and had a lot of pressure just now from
Kurt Bookert.
Yes, Kurt Bookert, linebacker, came in and put a lot of pressure on him and forced him for that punt that just traveled a couple of yards.
Marvelous opportunity for Jesuit, trailing by 5 with 2:55 to play in the 3rd. They're at the Purple Knight 24. The officials are discussing things here at the line of scrimmage before we get things underway once more. Last week, Jesuit was outgained by West Jefferson 300-38 in the first half, and yet they only trailed 14-12. They hung tough due to turnovers, came back, really controlled play in the second half, won the game. Golemi hit in the backfield and shakes one tackle, but not the second. The first man there was Bates, and the tackle was made by James Hall for yet another loss.
Brett Seymour in with the tackle as well. A tall, rangy, aggressive guy, 6'3", 225-pound Seymour. But that defensive line has really been a thorn in the side for Jesuit.
Our Scholar Athletes, sponsored by Gainell J. Martin Insurance. Randy Gibbons of Jesuit. Fine fullback, Robert Nixon, unfortunately not playing. The defensive tackle for the Purple Knights, a blue chipper. Our congratulations to them for being such fine students and athletes. Sponsored by Gainell J. Martin Insurance. 2nd and 13. Childress throwing. Has his man Bro to the 13 and tripped up at about the 12, and he has a first down for Jesuit. Jacob Bro is having a huge game, and again, a perfect throw by Childress. They're getting receivers open when they have time.
And that was the 4th catch for Jacob Bro, a squaring pattern, a slant pattern right across the middle, catching it right here in coverage, and just outran the linebacker here, was tripped up, finally came down, but that's a big gain. I'd say it was a 14-yard gain for Jacob Bro. He's got 4 catches for 94 yards. Not bad evening.
Another of our prime candidates for the AAA Trophies Player of the Game. Under 2 minutes, 3rd quarter. Splitbacks behind Childress to give to Galemi. Fights his way near the 10. Wrapped up by 55, Roland Seymour, who's had a heck of a game. Seymour, 3 fumble recoveries, 4 sacks entering this game. He had a touchdown on a block punt against Rummel.
And as Ty Galemi looking for a place to run, really not much room. But Ty Galemi, surprisingly, Kenny, he's got great vision, and he's being looked at by a lot of schools. Virginia, Vanderbilt, Rice, Tennessee, LSU, and Tulane are after his services. 2nd and 8
from the 11. Twin receivers right. Faking Childress. He can run. 10, 5. Jesuit takes the lead on an 11-yard touchdown run by Parrish Childress. Great fake by Childress. Had containment completely beaten on the play, and the Blue Jays lead 15-14, and they'll go for 2.
Great faking with the ball, and Parrish Childress with 4.7 speed scoots around the right side and dances into the end zone, giving Jesuit a 1-point lead, and they're hoping to decrease on that with 1 minute 5 seconds to go here in the 3rd period. Kenny, this game is far from over.
No doubt they'll go for 2. The situation dictates that. The Blue Jays have really seized control of this game in the 3rd quarter. Galemi, the lone setback. 2 tight ends, a slot man and a receiver right is Weiss. Fake to Galemi. Has a man wide open. Gibbons, 2-point conversion. Another great play fake. Freezes the Purple Knights defensively. Timeout on the field. 1:05 to play 3rd quarter. Our scholar athlete with a 2-point conversion. It's Jesuit 7.
At the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner, 5 cents goes a long way. The Pontchartrain Center has over 35,000 square feet of exhibit space and 6 spacious meeting rooms, all for just 5 cents a square foot. If you're looking for a place to hold your next convention, meeting, seminar, or banquet, Kenner's Pontchartrain Center is New Orleans' newest meeting alternative. All meal functions are catered by Marie's to assure the finest in banquet cuisine. When you're looking for a quality convention or meeting facility with affordable rates, call the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner.
What a turnaround we've experienced here in the 3rd quarter. 1:05 to play in the 3rd. Jesuit leads 17-14, and Mr. Parrish Childress is coming up big. He's now 6 of 12, 117 yards and a touchdown.
And that last play culminated a 4-play, 24-yard drive. Parrish Childress going 11 yards on the final play with an 11-yard touchdown keeper. And the 2-point conversion, as you alluded to, Kenny, was successful. Jesuit leads for the first time, 17-14, 1 minute, 5 seconds remaining in the 3rd period.
Neely bangs another for a touchback through the end zone. Boy, he is some weapon. Well, Jesuit, with the wind at their back, is really taking advantage in the kicking game and in the passing game.
Yes, and you know, as I see Pat Neely go off the side to the sidelines, Kenny, you know, don't be confused. You saw him at halftime with that Opie Taylor, Ronnie Howard type face. He looks like he got a smile can break glass. He's that confidence and that cockiness you'd want in a kicker. The right breed, the right blend of cockiness and confidence. And boy, I tell you what, he's every bit the best, one of the best kickers in this country.
Charles and Bates, right, split backs behind the quarterback Evans, who's 6 of 10, 81 yards and a touchdown. Wants to throw here. Hit as he throws, going deep down the middle, and the pass is caught. What a throw! And Derek Lewis runs it down in Jesuit territory at the 43. What execution! And let me tell you something, Kareem Evans into the wind, getting hit. What a pass that was. First down, Purple Knights. It doesn't get any better than this.
Feeling the pressure, Kenny. Yes, he was hit as he let it go, and that's Scott Slagle with the pressure, but he completed it to Derek Lewis. not taking his eyes off the ball. Great vision, great determination, and 6'4", 205-pound tight end is going to make someone a great linebacker or a strong safety.
I'm not sure if that ball didn't come out before he hit the ground, Renee. We might want to take another look at it after this play. 38-yard completion nonetheless from Evans to Derek Lewis. This is Burks. Same play he scored on earlier. Leaps over a tackler and gets to the 36. Boy, he's some player. 6 yards on the carry for Dennis Burks. Now watch again. Did he catch this ball or not? Well, the nose of the football might have been touching the ground there, Renee. That was awfully close. And, of course, the officials were really shielded because of the big 6'4", 215-pound frame of Derek Lewis. You can see right there, it's hard to see if he's got the ball, but you can see the nose hitting the ground there. If he has control of it, that's okay, but did he have control?
Well, Kenny, his knee was on the ground before the ball came down, so as soon as his knee hit the ground...
That's a catch.
Yes, that's a catch.
And the third quarter comes to a close. What a quarter for Jesuit, and what a game we've got. Final quarter still to come. Second round state playoffs. The Blue Jays 17 and the Purple Knights 14 on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
At the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner, 5 cents goes a long way. The Pontchartrain Center has over 35,000 square feet of exhibit space and 6 spacious meeting rooms, all for just 5 cents a square foot. If you're looking for a place to hold your next convention, meeting, seminar, or banquet, Kenner's Pontchartrain Center is New Orleans' newest meeting alternative. All meal functions are catered by Marie's to assure the finest in banquet cuisine. If you're looking for a quality convention or meeting facility with affordable rates, call the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner.
Ken Trahan, Renee Nato, the fourth quarter about to begin, and what a game we've had to this point. 17-14 Jesuit. St. Aug threatening, though. 2nd and 3, the Jesuit 36. And Burke slips down as he tries to make his cut at the 35. He has a yard. Following Fobbs into the hole. It will be 3rd down and about 2. Burks has had himself quite a game. He's a candidate for our AAA Trophies Player of the Game, as is Evans, as is Derek Lewis, as is James Hall, Ray Notch Thompson on the St. Augustine side of things.
Kurt Booker with the last tackle, Kenny, and he didn't even lay a hand on him, but he forced him inside, and Dennis Burks, his feet went from underneath him, with Kurt Booker with the tackle, and now it's
3rd and 2. I'd be surprised if they throw. This is really 4-down territory. Yes. They have 2 downs to make 2 yards. Give it to Burks. Don't think so. He got a yard to the 34. It's going to be 4th and 1, and they'll have to use all 4 downs. And there's Ridge Bourgeois to fill the hole. There's another guy. We got to mention him again. What a game he's played. It's 4th and 1, and there's no doubt the Purple Knights will go for it here. They can't reach a field goal from there, and it's certainly not a place on the field to punt the football from the 34.
Kenny, we've mentioned every time we've done a Jesuit game, the Jesuit Blue Jay defense reminds me of the Miami Killer Bee defense when Bill Onsbarger was the architect way back in the 70s.
Fans on their feet. 4th and 1. St. Augustine, the Jesuit 34. I got to believe 32 will get the football. He does. And he gets a first down for St. Augustine, still on his feet. Burks is going to score. What a run! Dennis Burks, touchdown. Purple Knights, 34 yards, 20-17 St. Augustine. What a run by Dennis Burks.
That is sheer determination. And for those youngsters watching this game, it goes to show you, never stop your feet from moving. Every time you're hit, you never know that a potential tackler may fall off, which happened right here. He's hit 3 or 4 times. Has 2 tackles right here on his feet. He continues to spin, move his feet, keeps his feet chopping, and that allows him to break into the open, break into the clear, scoot for a touchdown, and St. Augustine takes the lead 20-17.
I'll tell you what, Renee, I mentioned earlier about pumping those legs in the first half. He never stops, and that's the result. Fobbs will try the extra point to try to give the Purple Knights a 4-point lead, so it's a big point. Good snap, ball down, perfect kick. Fobbs is perfect tonight. Timeout on the field with 10:18 to play. It's St. Augustine recapturing the lead. They lead Jesuit 21-17 on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
At At the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner, 5 cents goes a long way. The Pontchartrain Center has over 35,000 square feet of exhibit space and 6 spacious meeting rooms, all for just 5 cents a square foot. If you're looking for a place to hold your next convention, meeting, seminar, or banquet, Kenner's Pontchartrain Center is New Orleans' newest meeting alternative. All meal functions are catered by Marie's to assure the finest in banquet cuisine. When you're looking for a quality convention or meeting facility with affordable rates, call the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner.
If you were wondering if the Purple Knights had an answer to that big third quarter by Jesuit, you got your answer definitively. That man, Dennis Bergs, capping it off. What a game he's played. What a run.
Yes, it was a 5-play drive, 80 yards in length. The final play, 34-yard touchdown scamper by Dennis Bergs. Kenny, what a night he's had. 16 carries, 110 yards, and 2 scores.
On the kickoff, I believe a Jesuit player touched the ball. It then went out of bounds. If that's the case, Jesuit will have it at their own 18 or 19 with not good field position. Usually on these kickoffs, Jesuit would get good field position, but not this time. Very effective kick there by Nemesis Bates. It hit a Jesuit player and then went out of bounds, so the Blue Jays get it at the 19-yard line, trailing 21-17 with 10:16 to play. Bro goes wide to right. Weiss is wide to the left. High formation once more. Childress straight drop. In the flat to Golemi. Has some room. 20. Gets a block. 25. Breaks a tackle. 30. 35. Knocked out of bounds near the 40. Good-looking play and a heck of a run by Todd Golemi. He's a good receiver. Shows you his catching ability there. His 11th catch of the year. He had 200 yards and 3 touchdowns receiving coming into this game. First down, Jesuit. They mark him out of bounds at the 34. Got a good block as well on this play.
Yes, Paris Childress just throwing it out in the flat to Todd Golemi and letting it happen. And boy, I tell you what, he really turned it up the field. Good blocking downfield, and you can notice Puino with a good block pushing downfield. Todd Golemi knows what to do when he gets it, whether he's carrying it or catching the ball.
Call it the 35, a gain of 17. Cut back. Golemi busts through a tackle. Boy, he runs hard there, doesn't he? Gets 3 or 4. He just put his head and shoulders down and drove into Sean Johnson, who made the short tackle. Johnson, he is some player, 3-year starter, makes all their secondary checks and calls. All Metro player in the preseason, captain of this defensive team, all district player this year.
Kenny, we're talking football right now, but the St. Augustine Purple Knight basketball team, coached by Bernard Griffith, is ranked 14th in the country. They lost a heartbreaker last night to Lester Earl and the Glen Oaks basketball team. We'll talk about that later.
They'll be back. Bernard's a great coach. They've got some program. Childress, big trouble. Throws, intercepted and dropped. Thompson was there, and it would have been an easy touchdown. Oh, Reynolds Thompson just lays the ball down the 10-yard line. That might have been the big play right there, but Thompson couldn't hold it. They tried to go with a throwback screen. Thompson read it perfectly, and the pressure on Childress was enormous.
That was a pressure, almost a pressure interception, because Paris Childress was just looking to get it off, get rid of it before he was sacked, and he threw it right into the hands of Reynolds Thompson, but he couldn't find the handle. Boy, I tell you what, it's a big hit right now. That was from Skylar Pierre, coming from a safety blitz, and didn't allow him much time at all.
Well, they're blitzing everybody. Here they come again on 3rd down to throw. Bro catches it. First down, breaks one tackle. He'll go down near midfield. Big play and a first down, Jesuit. Perfect throw from Childress. Again, when Childress has the time, he does the damage. And what a game Bro is putting together. His 5th catch of the game.
Yes, his 5th catch of the game, and he's just going over the 100-yard mark. He had 4 catches for 94 yards, and that was a 10-yard catch. So he's over the 100-yard mark at 5 catches, 104 yards for Jacob Bro, a senior with 4.6 speed. And I tell you what, Kenny, everyone has really played up to their potential for the Blue Jays tonight.
Mark it at the St. Augustine 49, split backs. 5-man front for St. Augustine, daring them to throw, and they do. Weiss has a catch at the St. Aug 44, and then he's driven back. He has 5 yards on the play. It will be 2nd and 5. Tackle made by Anthony Hurd. Weiss favoring his back a little bit, limps toward the sideline. Took a big stick right there in the lower part of his back. That's smart. Good clean hit there.
The 3 receivers will be gone. Brian Weiss, Jacob Bro, and Ryan Wall, all seniors. Paris Childress leaves, as does Gibbons and Todd Golemi.
And Guy Bumpus, their other fine receiver at tight end. Quick snap. Childress to throw. Stops, throws, and the pass is incomplete. Two receivers in the same area. I got to think that might have been a busted pattern. They had both Weiss and Bro in the area, and that attracted many purple shirts. It will be 3rd and 5.
Kenny, I mentioned a little while ago that St. Augustine had a tough basketball game last night. Watch for Lester Earl and Glen Oaks. What a team up there in Baton Rouge. You'll hear about that team before it's all over with in basketball.
They've got 2 6'9" players. Enough said.
A 6'5" guard and a 6'11" player coming off the bench.
How about that? From the 44-yard line, 3rd and 5. Childress under pressure, throws, and the pass is caught. First down and more, and that's Jacob Bro again, and what a game he's having. He's all the way down to the St. Aug 32, wrapped up by Anthony Hurd. Perfect throw, first down, Jesuit. 6 catches now for Jacob Bro.
And Jacob Bro just finds a way to get open. He's not the fastest guy. He's got 4.6 speed, Kenny, but he just has great vision and has a feel for that defense. A great route right here. Beats his man. Good coverage on defense by the St. Augustine Purple Knights, but a collar tackle made by Anthony Hurd, only a sophomore, and a big gain.
He runs great routes, has good hands, and he uses his frame to shield the defender away. Golemi with running room. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, and down near the 5 is Todd Golemi. First down and goal. Jesuit near the 5. 17 yards on the carry. Well, that's what throwing the ball effectively does, Renee.
Yes, it does. And also you want to credit the right side of the line. Great blocks right here to the outside. Higgins, Malinowski, and Marino. Great blocks allowing Todd Golemi to get outside, and great determined run, much like the Dennis Burks run of a few plays ago.
Back and forth this game goes. What a game it is. 7:35 and counting. 21-17 St. Aug. Jesuit threatening first and goal at the 5.
Jacob Bro, 6 catches, 129 yards, and a score for the Blue Jays senior.
He splits wide right with Weiss. Split backs behind Childress. Motion by Weiss. Childress rolling that way. He might run, he will, and he is hit for a loss. Sean Johnson there to belt him down near the 7. And it will be 2nd and goal. Great job by Sean Johnson, a loss of 2.
Sean Johnson just kept his feet and was going to tackle outside in. He wasn't going to go for any fakes. It was not going to allow him to, you see outside in right here. So he was not going to allow him to get outside of him, Kenny. Hit him with his shoulder pads. And Sean Johnson, a 3-year starter, being looked at by the likes of Maryland, Wisconsin, Grambling, and Southern, along with Nichols State. He'll make someone a great safety.
He wanted Weiss, but Anthony Hurd was right with him, and he wisely held the ball. 2nd and goal. Play fake. Childress throwing, touchdown! Guy Bumpus, the tight end. 7 yards and a score, and the Blue Jays recapture the lead at 23-21.
That was Guy Bumpus' 2nd touchdown of the season. And, boy, I tell you, he picked a great time for this touchdown catch. Paris Childress rolling right, looking to dial long, and he catches Bumpus right in the seam there, wide open. And once again, Jesuit seizes the lead, 23-21. 6 minutes, 30 seconds remaining here before the end of this contest.
No doubt Pat Neely will try the extra point here out of the hold of Lance Hecker. And he's got it. 6:31 to play. What a state playoff game this is. Jesuit 24, St. Augustine 21 on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
The original Bone Ford in New Orleans has got your number. 0.9. 0.9. Right now, this week only, when you buy any new Ford Taurus from the original Bone Ford, you'll pay only 0.9% interest and save big too. America's best-selling car from New Orleans' favorite car dealer has a low, low price and 0.9% interest. Try getting that from a bank. Don't forget the big savings on America's top-selling truck, the F-150. Right now, at the original Bone Ford, your 15-minute dealer. Just 15 minutes from Metairie, St. Bernard, and the West Bank.
6:31 to play. Jesuit back on top, 24-21, their most impressive drive of the game.
Methodical it was. 10 plays, 81 yards. The final play, a 7-yard touchdown toss from Paris Childress to Guy Bumpus, a couple of seniors. The extra point was good, and Jesuit holds a 3-point lead, 24-21. 6.5 minutes left to go.
The ominous presence of Jamal Fobbs, who figures to get a chance to return this one because Neely's kicking into the wind. If he kicks a touchback here, he really earns it. Fobbs standing at his 5. Neely hits it. Look at this. Forget about it. Another touchback, 5 yards deep. Well, he just takes those dangerous return men out of play. And that's a big weapon for St. Augustine, just as it was a big weapon for West Jefferson when they were vanquished a week ago. Purple Knights ball, 1st and 10 on the 20. Keep in mind, St. August coming off of a great drive the last time they had the football.
Yes, and Dennis Burks is the guy you want to go to. He's had a great evening, as has all the offensive weapons for the Purple Knights. And Kareem Evans, what an evening he's had, just the junior coming back for one more year.
Bates and Charles wide left. Kareem Evans has been good. Bob's trying to get outside. To about the 24, he has about 4 yards on the play. Short tackle by Roger Pino, the senior defensive back who had an interception against Holy Cross, leads the Jesuit club with 3 interceptions.
And yes, Ryan Durbis turned it in and allowed Pino to make that tackle. Pino, a 2-year starter, the headhunter. He hits like a Jack Tatum, so when he hits you, you stay hit. But it's 2nd and 6 for the Purple Knights, and 6 minutes, a lot of time left to be played here, Ken.
Again, the twin receivers left, Barnes and Bates. Evans shouts some instructions to them on the far side of the field. Evans wants to throw. Under pressure. Gets away from one man. Steps up. Gets away from another. What an effort by Evans. He's still on his feet as he goes out of bounds to the 26. He got something out of nothing there. Jesuit had great pressure. Evans shows you his athletic ability. He is some player. He's a junior. He is going to be a very fine college prospect a year from now.
Ken, he can run a lot better than people anticipate. He does have the arm, but as a 6-foot, 195-pound product, he really can run. Eluding tackles, he really put a couple of moves on Ryan Durbis before a host of white jerseys finally knocked him out of bounds, but he is a good runner. He could be a good option quarterback if that's the type of offense St. Augustine wanted to run.
Here's a huge play. 3rd down and 4 at the 26 with 5:41 to play. Twin receivers left once again the wide side of the field. Evans to throw. Has time. Now he's rolling under pressure. Looking, throwing, incomplete. Threw that one into a totally dead spot. And it will be a punting situation for St. Augustine. Well, the pressure, slow getting there, did get there, and it really forced him to throw it away, Renee.
He's facing a 3-man front, and you can credit Benton Marino along with Slagle putting pressure on him, and Slagle has spent the last few minutes in the backfield of St. Augustine. He's really turned it up a notch here for the second half.
Durbis with pressure as well. Scott deep to receive the punt, which is away, end over end. Scott chases it, lets it go, and it takes a phenomenal St. Augustine bunt. Inside the 20, inside the 15. This one will roll all the way down to about the 10-yard line. What a punt here by Ravi Bates. Well, remember, Jesuit fumbled the punt earlier, so they let that one go, and this one works out great for St. Aug. Paris Childress has had some football game, hasn't he?
11 out of 19, 178 yards and 2 scores, and that was approximately a 55 to 60-yard punt.
It's a 64-yard punt with no return.
With the roll, and now the thing is, Jesuit must take a long play drive here down the field and use up a lot of clock, and if they do not score, they must give the ball up deep in St. Augustine territory. They cannot afford a turnover right now.
I really think what they have to do more than anything else is protect the ball here with a 3-point lead. St. Augustine will be looking for the turnover. Galemi straight ahead, has about 5, maybe 6. Finds some running room up the middle. He hasn't had much of that, but he has really come on here in the latter stages. James Hall made the stop. It's 2nd down after a good gain by Galemi of about 6. Under 5 minutes to play.
Kenny, just a good hole right here in the middle, and they do miss. Well, in fact, let me take that back. McMinn, who went to the sidelines early in the first half, has returned, and they miss his blocking. They're glad to have his blocking. He's been in the program for 4 years. Not big, but he gives it everything he has.
The motion man is Bro, and they give straight ahead for about 3 to the 19, where it will be 3rd and 1. A big play is coming up here.
Just Paul running, and they give it to their bell cow, Todd Galemi.
That was Gibbons on the carry there.
That was Gibbons, I'm sorry. And Gibbons is a guy who's in the shadow of Todd Galemi, but he's got 4.7 speed, and he really is a guy. He's an excellent blocker. When he gets such an opportunity to run the ball, he makes the most of it. He's the guy who caught that 2-point conversion early in the game.
Tony Villegas looking on, yelling instructions. Biggest play of the game. Third down. We'll call it 2 from the 19. And the whistles blow. The whistles blow. And St. Aug took a timeout just prior to the snap of the football. So a timeout on the field, 3:56 to play. Jesuit 24, St. Augustine 21 on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
When you want all the action, get rock. Every Friday at 10:30 on WGNO.
3:56 to play, 24-21 Jesuit, 3rd and 2. St. Aug with only one timeout remaining. Let's head down to field level now for this update from Laura Murphy. Laura?
Kenny, Jesuit's last try was very impressive, but it was even more so because they did it without their starting offensive lineman, Robbie McMine. Robbie was out with a bruised shoulder. However, you can see he's back in the game. Let's see what he can do this drive, Kenny.
All right, thank you. That's Robbie McMinn, who's a very fine player, and they are very happy to have him back. 3rd and 2 at the 19. It figures to be Golemi. Play fake. Childress wants to pass and does. And the pass is caught. What a throw by Childress. Guy Bumpus, the tight end. First down, Jesuit at the 32. That's a huge play. They move the chains. St. Augustine can only stop it once more. What a throw by Childress.
Kenny, that was a gutsy call because he had to throw it right on target. He threw it between two defenders right here. Throws it one way or the other, it's intercepted. Throws it to the left or to the right, just a hair. Could be intercepted or batted away. But it's a first down, and it's a play that perhaps may have caught St. Augustine off guard.
Boy, they've got the guts to throw from deep in their territory in that situation, and why not with the way Childress has played. Split backs behind him. They give to Gibbons. Look at Gibbons drive those legs across the 35 to the 36, about 4 yards. Hall was there along with Goodwin to make the stop. Sean Johnson coming up from safety as well. No timeout taken yet. They have one more left to the Purple Knights. They can ill afford to give up another first down here to Jesuit.
It could be fatal if they do get one more first down. Gibbons, you know, he's a guy you don't hear much about, Kenny. He's a great blocker. Every team needs a Randy Gibbons on their team. He's got the mentality of a lineman as a fullback.
2 touchdowns and a win over Rummel last regular season game for Gibbons. 2nd and 6 to 36, 250 and counting. Gibbons again. He has a hole. Gibbons is close to a first down near the 42. Depends on the mark. What a big first down that would be. Well, the Jesuit offensive line has really come on late in this ballgame.
Yes, once again, good blocking. Higgins, Melanowski, Marino, McMinn, and Puino. And I tell you what, Gibbons with just individual effort, Kenny, and he just would not be denied. He's coming into this game averaging 4.2 yards per tote. And Jacob Bro, 6 catches, 129 yards and a touchdown. He's made some exceptional plays for the senior wide receiver, and it really made a big. It has really made a big impact. He's one of the reasons Jesuit's winning. First down, Jesuit Blue Jays.
That is huge with 2:32 to play, and of course, Guy Bumpus has really had the 2 biggest catches of this ball game: the touchdown to put him ahead, and the first down reception just now to move the chains. Another first down now with 2:32 to play. Jesuit in good shape. Tony Villegas very concerned. They're never out of it, as last week would remind us. Split backs behind Childress. Taking his time, letting that clock run. Past the 2:20 mark. He's very composed, isn't he?
5 defensive backs, Kenny. They're expecting a pass.
There's no way they'll throw in this situation, and there's some running room, and there's some more yardage to the 49-yard line, pardon me, and a big hole for Todd Golemi. And again, the offensive line really blowing open some holes when it counts.
The thing is, when you're expecting a pass and Todd Golemi gets 2 or 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, it could be Katie bar the door. So it's a risk involved. That's a 2nd and 4, and yes, there's no reason to pass. But Kenny, I tell you what, they've shown some guts in situations.
No way. Won't happen. 2nd and 4 from the 49-yard line. Jesuit in their own territory. Childress letting some clock run. And they give to Gibbons. Short yardage there, maybe a yard. to midfield. Ran into some traffic there. Rushy Bates was the first man there. Roland Seymour was there as well. It's third down, 1:20 and counting. Some of the folks starting to file out, but they should know better.
Even when the clock is zeros up there, Kenny, the game is not over.
If they can stop them here, they'll likely force Jesuit to have to punt the ball. They should have enough time to force another play. Let's see where that clock is prior to this play. It's under a minute now. Of course, a first down would make it academic. 3rd and 2, the St. Aug 49 officially. And Gibbons, and a first down, Jesuit. And that ought to do it for the Blue Jays. And again, you just can't say enough about Gibbons and the offensive line. Chuck Polino, Robbie McMinn, Michael Marino, Mike Malinowski, Hudson Higgins, and the tight end Guy Bumpus with a game on the line. They came up big.
What an individual, well, not individual effort, Kenny. Great effort by Paris Childress right there, but Gibbons has really turned it up a notch this last series. And he got the tough yards, 30 ticks now to go before this game is over with.
This game's over, Renee. They'll snap it one more time and kneel on the ball.
Not much Jesuit can do. I know one thing, they're not going to pass now.
And I know they're not going to run toward their end zone either. I want to comment on that, too, before this game's over. Flags down with 13 seconds left before anything can happen. So it's not over yet. Jesuit probably took too much time. And that's exactly what happened. They'll have to snap it once more, though, and take a knee to wrap this one up. And what a win it will be for the Blue Jays. They will have beaten St. Aug for the second time this year, and they'll move on to the state quarterfinals against the winner of the John Ehret Fort Jay game a week from now, a game that will be played in town.
And Kenny, something you mentioned a little while ago, Jesuit fans, keep faith. St. Augustine has lost the last 2 state champions.
Renee, there's no doubt in my mind that Paris Childress is the AAA Trophies player of the game as he takes a knee here. Would you concur?
You have no argument from me, Kenny.
Paris Childress takes a knee, 6-5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the Jesuit Blue Jays move on to the state quarterfinals with a come-from-behind shocking win over the St. Augustine Purple Knights, 24-21. What an effort by both teams. What a win for Jesuit. Paris Childress, number 3, who was just terrific, is our AAA Trophies player of the game. Look at Mark Sanji, Burton Barnes and company embracing. I mean, a lot of respect, great schools, great traditions. Tony Villegas, a class act. How you can malign a man that's done what he's done and is 80-23 over 10 years, I'll never know. He's a class act. He's a heck of a coach. Jesuit tonight proves better. 24-21, they defeat St. Augustine. The players shake hands. And, of course, our post-game show is yet to come. Paris Childress, our AAA Trophies player of the game. We'll talk with him. We'll talk with the victorious coach of the Blue Jays, Mark Sanji, as well. Stay with us on the Cox Cable Prep Football Game of the Week.
Prep Football on Cox Cable is brought to you by Kenner on the Move. Bone Ford in New Orleans, your 15-minute confidence dealership. And Cox Cable, star quality, guaranteed.
Is it your goal?
Blue Jays outscore the St. Augustine Purple Knights 21-7 in the second half, and they come from behind in dramatic fashion to beat the Purple Knights 24-21 to advance to the quarterfinals of the Class 5A state playoffs. Ken Trahan along with Renee Nato. What a football game we saw here tonight. 2 different halves. The Purple Knights really controlling the first half. The Blue Jays really controlling the second half and coming from behind one final time to post the victory. Renee, another great game for us.
Kenny, it was surprising because St. Augustine controlled that line of scrimmage, both offense and defense. But Jesuit, you have to give them credit. What a game plan. They just kept sawing wood. And what a difference. The difference tonight, Paris Childress. What a difference he made for the Jesuit Blue Jay offense.
We said it throughout the game. If he had time to throw, he was going to be successful. Sacked 5 times in the first half, but only once in the second half. The offensive line deserves a lot of credit, as does our AAA Trophies player of the game, Paris Childress. We head down to field level now, and our Lance Jacob visits with the victorious Jesuit head coach, Mark Sanji. Lance?
Go ahead, Lance. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Sitting now here with a very happy and relieved head coach, Mark Sanji, trailing 14-3. You said you were extremely worried. You were pretty fortunate to come away with 3 points before the end of the half, and then you just built on that.
Well, we came back in the second half and just played a phenomenal game. can't really explain it. I think our effort up front by our offensive line was very good in the second half, and you know, of course, the 3 points right before halftime, that was important. That ended up being the difference in the ball game. I believe it was 24-21, and I just can't say enough about our kids. We just played so well tonight on both sides of the ball, on special teams in the second half. I'm just very proud of them and the way they played, and I'm not ready to give them up yet, so I hope we can last a few more weeks.
Your defense has been called opportunistic, sometimes lucky, but as long as that title is followed by a winner, who cares, huh?
Well, you make your own luck. I believe that. I used to believe, you know, luck was something that only happened to good football teams. Well, I guess if it is, we're a good football team. You make your own luck. You make the ball bounce right your way, and it comes through preparation, hard work, and a whole lot of enthusiasm.
At this stage of playoff level, you have to win with more than one aspect. Of course, Todd Galemi has been so good for so long, but now at Parrish Childress, you have an added dimension.
Well, Parrish has been great for us all year. He's been the key to our offensive success. I think Todd ran the ball exceptionally well in the second half, and that opened up our passing game a little bit.
Well, special teams also, Pat Neely had to be extremely proud of his play.
No, he's going to graduate at the end of this year, and I know the value of a good kicker, so we're going to keep developing our young guys. He's been great for us again. You know, we talked last night on the show about it coming down to a ball game where, you know, about him winning it, and I guess you could say tonight that was the case.
Another person who won the game, Parrish Childress, our AAA Trophies Player of the Game, and Coach, we want to award this to the high school, and of course you can give that to him at the end of the year.
Thank you very much.
Laura Murphy is standing by with Parrish Childress. Let's head over to Laura.
Thank you, Lance. Parrish, first of all, congratulations.
Thanks.
You seem to be bothered early on by the blitz. After you got a little more comfortable with it, though, you kind of relaxed and started throwing a little bit more.
Yeah, that's right. We came out the second half and we were able to stop that blitz a little better, and I had a little more time to throw the ball, and that helped a lot because I felt more comfortable in the second half dropping back and rolling out, and I definitely felt a lot more comfortable. Our offensive line did a really good job, especially in the second half, coming out and playing hard against that defense, because it's a good one.
Why is it that you felt more comfortable in the second half? What was the coaches telling you at halftime that made you feel that more comfortable with your offensive line?
Well, basically, we didn't really make any adjustments. Coach just told us we have to go out and play a lot harder than what we were doing the first half, and we weren't playing to our potential. That's definitely for sure. And it's kind of like last week when we played West Jeff. He pretty much told us the same thing. You know, your season could end right here. So that gave us enough to think about. We came out the second half real fired up.
Last year you were eliminated by St. Aug in the playoffs. How does it feel to beat them twice in 1 year?
It feels great. It's real hard to beat them twice in 1 year, you're right. And they beat us twice last year and took us out the playoffs. And so we kind of had a little payback for 2 games this year. But I think we did a really good job tonight.
And that you did. You're in the top 8 now. Congratulations and good luck down the line.
Thanks.
Lance, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Laura. Back now with John Chambry. And John, you called this team a scrappy team, and off the air, you predicted this win. You have to be awful proud of yourself, too. You knew something about Mark Sanji and the kids. I tell you, just a gutty performance.
This was just as team effort as you could see, a witness. They were smooth. They got behind. They didn't panic. They did what they needed to do. Galemi ran the ball. They were mismatched in the line play in the first half and just came out and turned it around. And I'll say this, and I told Coach Sanji this, his play calling in the second half was really great. He really kept St. Aug guessing, and that was one of the differences of the game. This is a great win that beat 2 excellent teams 2 weeks in a row.
Another clutch performance by the Jesuit Blue Jays. They did it last week against West Jeff, this week against St. Aug. Let's take a look at the future chips, players that we think will be an impact in high school football in the future.
Ryan Derby is number 15, a defensive back. He's a great athlete. He's also a Olympic Development Program soccer player. He's going to be a force and somebody to look for next year. And for St. Augustine, Jamal Forbes, number 14, their running back, 180 pounds, a 4.5 sprinter, and they'll be back again. St. Augustine will be back.
One thing about St. Aug, always a great stable of running backs, and they can come at you with many different players. 2 other people that we want to talk about.